True enough.
I do.
It's clobberin' time!
Get those nerds! 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 What?
It's clobberin' time!
No bloody A. No bloody A, B, C, or D.
Clobberonimo!
Yeah. That's Clobbering Times. Welcome, my friends, to Clobbering Times issue number 546 on YouTube, 1,246 overall. Clobby's Clubhouse number 75. Go! We indeed.
Clobberonimo!
That's my second favorite part. We's still the best, but Clobberonimo. I love it.
Good stuff.
My friends, thank you all for being here with us tonight at Clobby's Clubhouse. I can't wait to get started. It's so great to see you all. And right away, let's introduce the most wonderful first officer in the fleet, the amazing Commander R.M. Briggs. Love you. Good to see you.
I love you. So good to see you, Captain. I missed everyone. It just seems like we can't spend enough time with each other.
Absolutely, isness.
Captain, my captain, I love you very much. Mark, it is so good to see you. Hail to the
Great to
chat.
see you.
My wonderful friends, so good to have so many friendly faces in one room celebrating the very best of the best. I love you all so much. Let's do this.
Indeed. And everyone, our great chief engineer, Commander Mark D with AC. What's up, dude?
Oh, doing great. It was my niece's birthday tonight, so that's why I was a little late. I was eating lots of pizza. Yeah, she's 11s. 11s.
Oh my. Oh
11s. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's why the watch party was late, but we finished just in the nick of time. So great UFO episode tonight. Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun tonight. We'll knock out the beeswax early by doing a couple of show notes and then get on to our shout outs. Of course, I'll be hanging out with our great buddy Nick Weiser and his August channel. 8:30 p.m. at the for the Friday Night Comic Shop show with that Friday Night Comic Shop gang tomorrow night, and then of course Saturday night Star Trek.
Dun, 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 dun.
Season 6 begins, folks. We start season 6 with 4 more episodes. Saturday night Star Trek number 112, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Same Trek time, same Clobby channel. And of course, don't forget, Sunday nights over on the great Mark D's channel, The Geekery. Sunday night Geekery, 10 p.m. Eastern.
Thank you, yep.
We geek you into the
We
week.
geek out.
Right. We de-geek your week by ending your week in geekness. Or, well, ending it.
I like that. I'm going to clip that.
Geek. And then...
Geeks. Sorry.
No problem. Just waiting to your Monday night, Mark C. Comics Talk. I will bore you to tears with a list. I will count down my top 25 all-time favorite episodes of the Justice League / Justice League Unlimited animated series from the early 2000s, the classic, great, fantastic show. And I love it. And you'll have to hear me if you care about such things. Anyway, join and listen to me waggle on about it because it's just what we do around here. It's the way we roll up in here.
Where we waggle?
We waggle. Let's say some hellos. How about that? Let's start out with our shout outs because
Let's do it.
Our favorite amazing wrenches to start out, of course. The
Right,
great
right.
bronze wrencher Eric K.
Eric K, I love you.
buddy.
Also,
And
somebody
Kirby.
who supports my book.
That's what I'll get to the doggy. Don't you start jumping the gun like
Oh, did you
Raquel
get the
always
new
does.
photo?
Oh, I saw him. Yeah.
I
Look
got a
at
new
that
photo.
puppy. You can show him later.
We can use the new photo
I
just
don't
for
have
the
time to
next
get
show.
that. Maybe for the next
because
one.
that's Kirby. That's
Look
Kirby.
at Kirby, folks. The Vindicator Wrench of the North. Chris Persia, my friend. Thank you so much for all you do, buddy. I
Thank
haven't
you
seen
for the beautiful show poster. I love you.
always
Thank you,
for
Chris.
that. I
Yeah,
haven't seen
that
this.
must take a lot of work to do that. So that's amazing, Chris. Thank
Amazing.
you.
I
stuff.
know.
I haven't seen the chat yet, so I don't know who is here or not. But our wrenches get shouted out either way. The great D. Bud Martin, the wrench of iron. Hey, buddy. The great Lord Thoth and Lady Thoth, of course. And well, I'll get there. Avon lives. Long live the Legion. Why do you keep thinking I'm going to forget the dog?
No, it's not that. It's that the greeting now belongs to the dog. I'm kidding.
And
I'm
there's the
kidding. I love
pupper.
LT.
There's the pupper.
Sir
Yeah.
Lancelot.
I don't forget puppies.
Okay, chat. You know what you need to do now, right? Right? You have to put some cheese in the chat for the pupperonis.
My partner in crime on Earth B, the Wrench Without Fear, the great J-Man, and we have another excursion to Earth B coming up. Each month we do one, and we have one coming up, which of course we change months soon in April. Looking forward to that, and of course the master of the Claboni, artist of the famed tome Science Fiction Tales by the great R.M. Briggs.
Dun, 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 dun.
Indeedishness. Super Wrench Kal-El. All right,
The real
buddy.
soup.
Muddy's daddy, wheel to the French Mionia.
Thor
And
in Vegas.
that old rascal, Fanty Outsidey. Yes. Now let me back the chat up. I know not who is here, but we're gonna shout you all out in due course because we love you. Hey, the Thing is here. Whoa! All right, buddy. Good to see you, Thing. Thingy, Thing, ring, do your thing.
Thing.
Thing ring, do your thing.
Or thank you, Thing. All righty. Yep. Don't
You told me
even
not
go
to
there.
clip that one.
Thank you. Donnie Pearson. What's up, Donnie Pearson? He says,
Good evening.
happy MLB opening day. I did not know you were a baseball fan.
Ooh.
Oh,
So there you
Yankees.
go.
Yankees won.
The Wankies
Aaron
won.
Judge hit a home run his first at bat, so he's on track for
You watch that stuff?
162 home runs. I watch that sports ball stuff once in a
Nothing
while.
wrong. Cool.
Sportsing.
Believe me,
Sports ball.
I wish I were a baseball freak like I am NFL football because there's so much of it. You only get like
Yeah.
18.
It
You only get
never
like, now
ends.
you get 17 games in NFL, but you get each week, but you get like 100 something baseball games.
162.
It's crazy. Michael Beacom, good to see you, my friend, and shout out to Cassandra. Yes, indeed. Let's see here. Dard CPO. What's up, sir?
Evening.
Evening, top of the evening to you. Hang on. Scrolling, folks. I'm scrolling to get to
Scrolling.
Scrolling.
Keep that scrolling going.
Rod.
Go hard.
Gogly Jotun. Hey, Timicus Maximus is here. Captain Infinity and beyond.
Captain Finity.
All right, buddy. Good to see you, man. Good to see you, the great Captain Finity. Let's see. Shite, it jumped on me. Bop, 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 bop. JT Kirk.
JT Kirk.
DJ Ronnie G.
DJ Ronnie G.
Lovely Lisa. Hello there.
Lisa.
Yay. Always good to see Supergirl Lisa. All righty. I hope you're doing well, my dear. Ezra Goldstein. Shalom, my friend. Shalom indeed, my friend. Sean Carter of
Mars.
Yeah. Let's see. Hang on. Skogley says, for anyone who follows me on Twitter, I hope I didn't offend anybody yesterday. I speak from the heart, and I love you all. Hey, to hell with them if they were offended. To hell with them, I say.
You're fine.
Very nice of you, though.
I'm pretty certain that I offended a lot of people who like the filth, and I just want you to know that I feel great about that.
Hell yeah.
Because I don't know their names. I don't know anything about them, but somehow how I feel about the filth has affected them enough that they're upset with me.
They are. Matt G. Hey there, buddy.
Matt G.
Abigor. The great.
Abigor.
Our buddy Dadman's here. Dadman and the Dadman clan. Hey. Claude Selling. Hey there.
Evening,
welcome.
Claude.
Evening. Captain James T. Skywalker.
Skywalker.
Let's see here. Hang on. We love our shout outs, though. Brian Hepburn, sir.
Good evening, Brian.
Dave.
Dave!
Hey, Dave.
Dave. Or it could be like Dave's or Dave's or Dave's or Dave's or Dave. I'm sorry, Dave, you didn't deserve that.
No, that's
and
good.
Bonanza's coming out on a new edition on Blu-ray or DVD. I'm not sure which.
Probably
We're talking Cowboys. You guys know how much I love Cowboys.
I love
It's
Bonanza.
like 250 smackles, though.
Hoobie-doo-bee.
Is he here?
Hoobie-doo-bee. Guess who's here?
Who?
It's
Herc,
the
130.
tequila shooting Herc 130.
Hoobie-dooby. And that's, I think I got everybody. Hope we didn't miss anyone, but shout out if we did. So it's fun hanging. Just, it's fun just being able to relax with no big agenda ahead of us, just to say hello to everybody and just kind of chill out at the clubhouse. So
That's right.
That's what we're here for tonight, folks, to relax and get ready for the weekend. And we got a few things, some geekness to talk about here and there. Some fun stuff, of course. Where to begin? Oh, Dad, man, you should have done that, buddy.
Oh my gosh.
You're too kind, buddy. Thank you so much. He said, no amount super check can truly compensate the talent. He must be talking about Raquel and Mark. I have no talent. Knowledge, that's not me either. Kindness, definitely not me. Of this trinity of YouTube, y'all great, but that chief engineer is out of control, making funnies of his Fortnite buddies. Yes, he's got to stop that crap. He's a mean SO of a B. Hey, the lovely Sherry's here.
Sherry, how are you, sweetheart? Haven't seen you in so long.
Yes, that beautiful face always cheers me up. It's so great to see you, Sherry. I hope you were
doing
after
well, that. I think Dadman earned something for his super chat there. Don't you think so?
Oh no,
I think so.
Yeah, I think he did.
Don't blame me, Dad, man.
Nice. Over that way.
God damn it, Mark. Jeez.
That wasn't me.
That was Dad, man.
Sorry, Dad, man.
The best thing about that clip is, I know Dad, man. I know his real name. I know his family. We've spent some time together. He's a very nice friend. He's a very mild-mannered man, and he has a very professional job in real life. And so hearing him flip out is hysterical. But what's worse is that Mark is also a very mild-mannered man. He's a Cub Scout leader. He's a very caring person who's involved with his community and charity work. So the fact that we have Dadman yelling the F word, and then we have Mark doing his evil laugh all at the same time makes
G
that
word.
clip golden. Gold.
Well, he GD'd it, but the thing is, the funniest part is Mark's evil laugh.
Right?
I can't be evil, can I? Was that Mirror Mark?
That
Yeah.
is Mirror Mark. Your
Mirror Mark,
agonizer,
yep.
please.
Oh,
Oh, and we have
new
Eric K
members?
gifted 5 members. So let me share my
Oh.
screen here. So thank you, of
Oh,
course, Eric K,
Eric,
for that.
thank you, buddy. Wow.
So let me share my.
Finally gonna have a member stream next week.
There we go. So thank you, Eric K.
Oh, nice.
Eric
Hi,
K,
Sherry.
thanks,
So while
brother.
we're doing that, I kind of messed up. I didn't call out my Patreon subs. I didn't
Go
call
for
out
it.
the people who are supporting my book. And they're
Go for it.
like, day to day, they're the people who are in my life who are like promoting my book. It's incredible that they do this for me. So I have to call them out. Larry, Tony Stark, Sean Carter from Mars, Cardinal Sin, Shooter, Chris Persia, Scuba Pete, Eric K and Kirby, Enigmatic Drop Bear, Michael and Cassandra Beacom, Mark D with a C, Jill, and Maximum Redstone. And that's it. Thanks, guys.
Nice.
I love you. Oh, and if you are one of my Patreon subs, thank you very much. I adore you. It's incredibly cool that you totally went like 1700s by supporting an artist the way that you are. You're amazing. But you should know the March story deadline that I didn't think I was going to make because I'm so busy with the book launch, I made it. The story's up on Patreon. Go get it.
Yeah.
Go get it. It's called
Wow.
The Rain.
Excellente. Oh my goodness. Well, that's great. Yes, thank you all for that. Thank you. Let's see here. What do we got going on tonight? I think we're gonna have some Tales of Tomorrow from number 1. We're gonna have a UFO episode.
UFO.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you like to know? I don't know. Somebody. Starships of Greatness. What's up,
Hey,
Starships of
Starships
Greatness?
of Greatness.
Hello.
I was bluffing. I hadn't done anything yet. But we will. I will. We'll have more. So I tell you what, why don't we
Well, I have something Starships of Greatness will like later.
okay.
new,
Oh, good. Well, good.
New 3D printed starship you might like to see.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Great.
And everyone else too.
Ah.
But yeah, so
Ooh.
one of my favorite ships. It
Ah.
hasn't been painted yet, but just hot off the presses today.
Yeah. Nice. Excellent. Well, we'll look at that later for sure. So how about we get started with our Tales of Tomorrow with Commander R.M. Briggs.
Captain Infinity might not like that. Isn't that Tales of Tomorrow? It's got time travel in the title, or that's okay? That's acceptable.
No,
Tales
it's not necessarily
of Tomorrow.
It's not necessarily time travel.
Okay.
There can be a tomorrow without time travel.
Right.
Gotcha.
Tomorrow there might be one.
Yeah.
No, by then it'll be a today. Never mind.
But
There
isn't
might have
it
been
tomorrow?
one last
Isn't that
week, but we didn't travel to it.
Oh, that or I could then when you say the tomorrow line from The Prisoner, and tomorrow, you're a stubborn fellow, number 6. James, you come with that once more, and you're liable for a bout in the hospital. What a great episode! Many happy returns. I love that one.
Tomorrow, alive. Forget it.
Yeah. All right. So
That's not a
number 1,
karaoke show here.
tell us a little about your
Hey,
newest your review show. So you
Let's
were
do it.
reviewing, I should say.
let's do it.
Tales of Tomorrow. Can we drop the time travel for one stream? Exactly. That's what I say, Finity. Cut it
No,
out with- you notice it wasn't
you're
me,
caught
Finity.
in
It
a
was-
time loop, and it's just this is your Groundhog Day, baby.
It was Mark, not me. But good.
Blame Mark.
Okay, so as
Well, it
many of
was.
you know, I love short stories because I write short stories. I've been a lover of short stories since I was very small. And of course, one of the best examples of bringing short stories to life is through science fiction. The two have had an incredible relationship for a very long time, but that's not happening these days. Now we're getting lots of teleplay people, and there aren't these beautiful short stories behind the scenes. So it's time to bring back the good stuff. And the good stuff is Tales of Tomorrow. And we've been going through a couple of them every single week here on the Clubhouse. And this week we have two more. Of course, this is in the public domain. You can watch Tales of Tomorrow just about everywhere for free. So you can jump on board whenever you'd like. This week, our first episode, if Mark wants to bring it up, is Ice from Space. This is season 1, episode 14. But this is from Tubi in Canada. So it is also listed as season 1, episode 43 by the cesspool known as IMDb. This was first broadcast on August 8, 1952. I should tell everyone in the audience tonight that this is a teleplay, not a short story, and it was written by E.H. Frank. First bit of information that I think everyone will find interesting is that this was Paul Newman's first professional acting gig. So this is the first time Paul Newman has ever been on film.
Oh my.
TV or film.
My goodness.
And IMDb, like I said earlier, is a cesspool. It's a bit like Memory Alpha and all of these other user-generated sites. Sometimes I try to read the summaries from these pages, and they're just garbage. So I just wrote a little summary, a little quick summary. I haven't proofread it or anything like that. I just sort of wrote it off the top of my head while I was watching the episode, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. A top secret military unit is working with a top scientist to research the nature and effects of altitude and outer space, specifically outer space's effects on living creatures. They work methodically and realistically toward ever-increasing heights until one rocket breaches into outer space and then doesn't return as calculated or planned. There is tension and anxiety until the rocket finally returns, falling within the perimeter that was anticipated by the military. As the team considers the where, why, and how of the delay, it is revealed that a large block of ice has returned, perhaps moisture penetrating the hull and freezing, but it's in a perfect block. And after several days, the ice isn't melting. In fact, it's converting the surrounding desert into tundra. Ice and snow now stretch for hundreds of miles around this secret base. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to reveal the ending, but I am going to say that I gave this episode a 9 out of 10. I think that it is incredibly cool that we have this idea of, sending this rocket up, and they even thought through, and they have this great dialogue with regard to how this moisture has penetrated the vessel, because this vessel wasn't capable of holding anything big. It was just, it contained mice. They have experimental mice. And that's how they're testing the viability of their projects. And so they even have this wonderful, very cool conversation about how there would be no way to stop the rocket, interfere with the rocket, put ice inside of it, because that couldn't even be achieved. So the scientist has this huge conversation with them about how the rocket could have absorbed the ice, and everybody starts freaking out because, of course, that isn't possible. And just this whole idea of, I think Gene Roddenberry would have loved. I also think Stephen Hawking would have loved this story, because the creature, what is reaching back, the alien that is reaching back, is not the Area 51 alien. It's not some big, creepy, scary thing, with bulging eyes and weak, flaccid little bodies, fleshy bodies. This is something completely different. It's a block of ice. And so I find that kind of concept very intriguing. It's very Isaac Asimov. It's very Gene Roddenberry. It's very Stephen Hawking. This whole idea that you better wrap your head around the fact that what reaches back to us when we reach out may not be what we have conceptualized propagated in our popular culture. So this is an excellent episode. I hope you will jump on board and give it a try, because it is great. And now I just want to ask my captain and our wonderful chief engineer, did you guys get a chance to watch Ice from Space this week?
I'm afraid I have not watched the show yet.
We are failing here
We're a bunch
epically.
of jerks. We're a bunch of jerks.
Why did we watch that other episode last night? We should.
I'll tell you what, we should watch that and the crap we keep watching. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But I never watch anything other than stuff I'm supposed to review, and I actually should review this. But when I'm not watching something that we have to review, I'm starved for, like, I want to watch me some cartoons or something crazy like that, and I absolutely never
watch this.
I never think about this. I need to write it down. I need to put it on my reminder app. So I'm sorry I haven't seen it yet.
Maybe we'll get one of those temporary tattoos for your forehead, and I'll do it too. Yeah.
If I put it on the reminder app, that might help.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I can add, although I haven't seen this, is I was at Sally's having clam pizza one night, and who else was there having clam pizza? Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward. And
you ate sea tongues in front of my Paul Newman.
He was eating them too. I mean, come on, it's famous there.
Gross, he was not eating sea tongue pizza.
And the missus is like, look at that guy with the eyes across the room. His blue eyes are piercing blue eyes. She's like, that looks like Paul Newman. And I'm like, because that is Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward. So so it's a small little restaurant. So they were in Sally's in New Haven. And
you got
so I had dinner.
With
I had dinner with Paul Newman. Yes, I did. I had dinner with Paul Newman. As I tell everyone. Yeah. So the other famous stories left it. I didn't bother him in the restroom. Was he stopped signing autographs because he was it was at the urinal, and a guy comes up and said, "Can I, Mr. Newman, sir, can I have your autograph?" He's like, "Can't you see I have my hands full right now?"
He just should have turned at the waist. Just turn at the waist. If somebody approaches you at the urinal, you turn at the waist.
Yeah.
Wow. What'd you do?
Great guy. And also I want to add too that he's got a fantastic charity that he started. If you goggle Stu Leonard's up in Aurora, Connecticut, which is a little teeny farm that opened up like a market, which just sold milk and eggs, and became the largest dairy store in the world. And the customer here, I'll just pop this over. This is an aside. We got 2 seconds to show this, but it's and what I wanted to just show was that Paul Newman started selling his dressing, and he donates all the money to charity. So I think if I go to Newman's here, but just if they have an about. But the one thing that I wish everyone followed was they have a motto there. There's a big rock when you get in, and it's engraved, kind of like a tablet that says rule number 1, the customer is always right. Rule number 2, the customer is always right. Rule number 3, rules 1 and 2. So they have great customer service. Let's see if I can find that real
Hey, fast. Simply Steve, what's up, buddy?
Steve.
And so Paul Newman. Hey, Steve. Yep. So Paul Newman worked with, because they lived right close to
Newman.
And started selling the salad dressing. So then started selling the store, and it was just so successful that, of course, then they expanded to here we go. Oh, it's just 2 rules. See what happens on the here's the Stu Leonard's. So rule number 1, the customer is always right. Rule number 2, if the customer's ever wrong, reread rule number 1. So and they had their plastic bags too that everyone used years ago. They had like the first, which are now evil, but they had the first plastic bags. So but yeah, check out Paul Newman's charity. That's what I wanted to say. Buy, if you see his stuff in the store, stuff is great, and all the money goes to charity. So that's my Paul Newman plug. So great guy.
All right.
Sorry to derail, but I thought that's a derailing there. That's a good cause.
I definitely would not have asked for an autograph.
Me either. Especially not
I would have asked for like maybe a little smooch. Like it just would have been like just a little smooch on my cheek, right here.
Don't worry, JT. Cheek. This is a food-free zone, I promise.
No, that's not going to happen. I promise. Mark, down boy.
Yeah, we didn't go there.
So I think we're going to get moving on. Let's move on. 9 out of 10. And we'll get on to our next episode, which is Tales of Tomorrow. Seeing Eye Surgeon. This is season 1, episode 15 on Canada 2B. In the United States, it is season 2, episode 3. We all, well, not we all. I was going to say for Saturday Night Star Trek, we all watched this for the first time. No, we didn't. This first aired on September 5th, 1952. Once again, this is a teleplay, not a short story, and it's written by Michael Blair. An up-and-coming neurosurgeon is forced into the shadow of the hospital's longtime senior neurosurgeon. An extremely important patient presents with an inoperable brain tumor, and conveniently, the senior surgeon takes ill, leaving the hopeless operation to his understudy. Obviously, he's feeling challenged, and he wants his understudy to fail. The understudy is met by a mysterious man who gives him incredibly high microscopic glasses. The understudy is told that the patient, a nuclear physicist, cannot be allowed to die, and that the glasses will ensure a perfect surgical outcome. The surgeon does not use the glasses. He thinks the whole thing is just a big joke, like they're magic glasses, like, Jack and the Beanstalk, until all hope is lost. And he faces the fact that this is, it's an inoperable brain tumor. So once he faces that all hope is lost, he decides to use the glasses. And of course, the surgery is a complete success. There are a couple of problems with this. First of all, I would have appreciated if it was a little bit more scientific and a little less sort of magical. So it's sort of fantasy because it gets into that magical area. Also, he's given magical juice to clean the glasses, which disintegrate the glasses over time. And I won't reveal the ending, but the campy ending about what is real is quite terrible.
But does he also remove Spock's brain at any point too?
No, he does not remove Spock's brain, but it's really bad. Like, you guys remember in the 1970s when parents used to take pictures of their kids, and there would be like the faraway picture of the child trying to look like a cherub, and then this close-up sort of ghostly large head in the foreground? Well, that's what's used while they're discussing the nature of reality and what's real. Were the glasses real? Did it really happen? Was the power always inside of you? Or was the power in the glasses? Was there ever really glass in the glasses? And it goes on for like maybe 2 or 3 minutes until you're starting to herk and jerk, like where you might gag. It's so ridiculous. Yeah. Great up until that point where it turns into a 1970s black and white photograph of the cherubed child with a huge close-up of their head like it's the size of the moon. So I gave this one a 6 out of 10. Not enjoyable. I mean, it's enjoyable up to that weird point where you're like, oh, why are they doing this? This is not how you end it. However, I still recommend watching it. Please watch it. It's great stuff, but it isn't a short story, and the ending is sucky.
So is the ending that kills it, or is it the...
I can't get enough of that.
Okay, I have to put something on the marquee. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
The glasses existed, but then they didn't exist. The glasses existed, but then they didn't exist.
But then they didn't exist again. That's just wrong.
And that's all I have for my segment in this week of Tales of Tomorrow. I need to repeat just in case Larry gets here, because he likes to watch these shows, and he lives in a different part of the world than me, so he needs the actual name. So the first one, once again, is Ice from Space. This is a 9 out of 10. Good stuff. very enjoyable, terrific science fiction that I know the science greats would adore. The second one is the Seeing Eye Surgeon. Really great up until campy, so campy that you feel sick, like you might get a cavity from the sweetness of the weird sort of, I don't know. And that's it.
Wow. There you go. So 2 episodes.
2 episodes of Tales of Tomorrow. A Polynesian Minion and the pepperoni, the pepperoni. Where's my percussion?
Yeah, what happened to that?
I had to find something. What is up, Apollo me and Puppy?
There we go. There's the truck
Sorry.
dog.
Slow reaction.
The truck dog.
I was making someone.
Well, folks,
Well,
I think it's time to get into UFO.
Ooh,
are we ready for UFO?
Sure, or whatever you guys want to do.
UFO?
Well, I got my slideshow ready, so I mean it's done. It's ready to go whenever you want to go. Put it that way. Yep.
Okay, you want me to introduce it and to
go ahead.
read the little blurb? Okay, here, let's do it. Okay, folks, now it's time for UFO. This is Exposed. This is season 1, episode 2, but we are following the Fanderson prod code, so this one would be number 5. This first aired on September 23rd, 1970. And now I'm going to be reading from Wikipedia. It might suck. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to read it anyway.
Go.
When the Sky One interceptor aircraft intercepts and destroys a UFO, the writing, such quality, the explosion causes the nearby experimental test aircraft XV-0104, whose pilot refused the order to leave the area, to crash. While the co-pilot Jim is killed, the pilot Paul Foster survives, temporarily blinded. After waking up in a hospital and regaining his sight, Foster claims that the cause of the aircraft crash was a UFO, but his superior and his employer, Ventura Aircraft, and an RAF investigator, Dr. Douglas Jackson, do not believe him, as evidence showing Sky One but no UFOs points to pilot error. Believing that a cover-up is taking place, Foster undertakes his own investigation into the events surrounding the crash. He is aided by the sister of the dead co-pilot. Foster's investigation leads him to Commander Edward Straker. Straker agrees to meet Foster at the Harlington Straker Studios that are used as a cover for the secret shadow control base located beneath. Straker is in fact testing Foster to see if he is capable of joining Shadow. Foster passes the induction, and Straker reveals all about the UFO threat that Earth faces, also revealing that both Jackson and Jim's sister are actually Shadow operatives. This is so poorly written. I don't even know how to deal with it.
Okay, that was one of the better written ones, relatively speaking.
Yeah, Wikipedia is so bad. Memory Alpha is worse, and IMDb is a gong show. But let's just First of all, the woke breaker walked through the door. Good evening, woke breaker. Let's before we go any further. I don't want to go any further until we do some cleanup on aisle 5. Okay, so first of all, Foster doesn't have his eyes. He's not blinded. That's not true at all. Also, what is this other crap?
They induce temporary blindness, but that's part of the plot at the end. Yeah,
exactly. And also the fact of the matter is that Foster wasn't being put through this as a pace to become a part of Shadow. That's not true at all. It's revealed in the end that's what Ed wanted to do, Ed Bishop, Edward Straker, because the alternative was to kill the guy. So he actually decides that rather than offing the guy, he'll let's see if he has what it takes to be a part of Shadow. So it was actually an act of mercy to not murder this guy who is clearly stuck his nose where it didn't belong, and huge secrets have been revealed to him, and he needs to be killed. So that's the truth of it. He was never blind, and although they do a little cleanup here in explaining that Jackson and Jim's sister are actually Shadow operatives. And so I think that basically cleans up some of the BS in this shoddily written piece of crap. And now I'm going to put it over to the captain and to the chief engineer. What'd you guys think of Exposed?
I love the exposure here. I thought it was great. I thought it was one of the better episodes. I think this really has to come before. It really needs to come before Survival.
I know you had this. Look, there's
there
episode
we go.
4. It says listed as 4, but it's 5.
Yeah, but is it 5 or yeah? Well, it should be shown in 4. Some people
This was
had
there
it
from
too.
last week.
Yeah, this is here from last week. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
disregard the 4, everybody.
Yeah. So whatever. Yeah, just go by. I should just put the episode name. I
did not realize that was up there. I forgot about it.
I just threw it up now because I had the wrong episode title. I just had to redo the slideshow what Raquel was talking.
You're good.
I had to engineer, but just the whole setup here, and he's Paul is a fantastic commander. He's a test pilot, so you're almost a lot of the astronauts were test pilots in the Apollo and Mercury and programs. Neil Armstrong was a test pilot, so you're talking the best of the best. Of course, he doesn't want to have to kill him, like you said, Raquel. He doesn't want to have to take the guy out, unfortunately. So it's not planned from the beginning, but he puts the whole plan in motion, so all the pieces fall together. So it's a great resolution at the end. But all the time you're watching everything from his perspective, although you do know the secret was Stryker, and he's got that scene that's coming up where he's the Hollywood studio guy, and he's I think this outfit looks good for a Hollywood studio executive. What do you think? Or studio executive, he doesn't say Hollywood, of course.
He's a cutie patootie.
It's a cutie patootie, right? So that part is great. So the whole setup, this does work as like a second episode. Some of the guides have it as a second episode because you're really seeing
it does. It has to.
Right?
It has to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, this has to be this has to be
episode.
Second. And I was trying to get to this last week, but I really didn't want to do the spoilers, but that's why I didn't want to get into it last week. But I mean, it's really got to be there because it really sets the tone for many viewers, especially huge fans of UFO. It sets the tone for how you feel about Paul Foster,
right?
The nature of his relationship with Shadow, and even his relationship with Stryker. So, in my notes, I put, this episode always makes me hate Paul Foster. He is such a loser, a complete loser. He caused the death of Jim, his co-pilot, because he disobeyed orders and air traffic safety regulations just to get a close-up to sate his curiosity. I can't stand him. I'm a curious person too, but I don't endanger lives over it. And then I put in yelling all caps underneath, he's no Peter Carlin. Everyone knows, I absolutely love Peter Carlin. I think that he's their best pilot. But yeah, you struggle with this. Like, I don't know. It's almost like the Fanderson folks want you to like Paul. But once you understand the nature of Paul's behavior and what kind of a man he is, you will not like him. Well, at least I don't. I can't stand him.
Really?
I think he's a terrible person, and which is cool because then you're watching this show and you're like, that guy is a terrible guy. And let's hope he doesn't blow this. And so you're very hopeful that Alec Freeman is always going to be looking over his shoulder and that Stryker is always going to be looking over his shoulder.
Wow, I did not know you. I thought you liked Foster. I had no idea.
I didn't think of that. Oh, darn, you ruined Foster for me now.
Thank you, Apollomy, by the way.
Hi, Apollomy.
She's got those. She's
you beautiful sweetheart. I will.
You're too
That's
kind.
amazing.
That's amazing indeed. I
nice,
was not. I thought you were Foster. Did you like Foster? I had no idea. I like Foster.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think the order in which you watch this, I think it really affects how you feel about Paul. I mean, the first time around, you're not really quite sure. I think I don't even know. I would need to ask Clobby off air how many times I've watched UFO straight through.
Oh, no.
Over the last year or two, but it's just watching this as number 2, like the boss just said, it sets the tone, and Paul's bizarre and asinine behavior is revealed, and you put all of his other shitey behaviors in line, and you figure out, oh, this guy's just a piece of crap. And it helps you through the series because you're just like, oh, this guy's kind of a villain and he's going to mess things up for people.
I never even thought of that. I mean, it never occurred to me. I don't know what to think about that. I'll have to think about it, I guess. I always liked him. I always thought, yeah, he wanted to get pictures of that thing. I don't think he did anything bad here. He just made a mistake, and it caused the accident, but he disobeyed orders. That makes him headstrong and a problem, but people make mistakes. I mean, I don't think he didn't intend anything for anything bad to happen.
But in air traffic
here's
safety,
the dialogue here.
Yes.
So he says, pause the direct instruction, alter course. Sorry, control out.
He was a dumbass for this.
Yeah, so he's a test pilot, and so they've probably got the airspace all cleared out just for them.
Hey, Jill.
And,
Jill.
Hey, Jill. So what they're doing here then is they're trying to tell him, because he's, don't forget, he thinks he's got the right of way. He's on a fancy, test flight where all the airspace is probably closed out. And he's like, tell him I think it's a strike here. Tell him the aircraft's violating a war game area. Anything, just get it out.
That's right. And he still will not move, even when he's ordered. So he's not only ordered by the private company, but he's warned that he's in conflict with air traffic safety. In this case, obviously in space. So when you disobey orders to me and you do not follow air traffic safety, and you are told what you are doing, and you don't care, you want that picture. And he shows almost no remorse for what's happened to Jim. He seems more preoccupied with revealing some sort of government cover up. So yeah, he needs and maybe a slap across the face. He
was arrogant. He didn't mean to. He was being arrogant, and that happens to a lot of characters. I think it's part of a character arc. I don't think that makes him evil. It makes him a hothead, for one thing.
Yeah, he's a dumbass.
Well, plus they see a UFO at this point too, so the last thing they think is someone's going to shoot at them either. Don't forget. So, he sees this strange UFO, and they're telling him,
shot at. He just thought he saw a UFO.
Yeah, he's like, but wait a minute, I see something extraterrestrial. I'm not going to alter course. And the more we get into it, all these pilots that have seen UFOs, and the government's released them. So this episode is really timely for today, which is interesting because the government is finally admitting they've got all this footage, and there's a lot of things that they can't explain, which is interesting. Because I always assumed myself, I said, well, and I'm a kind of a aircraft nut, love studying aircraft and rockets and space, and I always assumed, well, it's probably like back in the day when we had the stealth fighter, F-117A, and they had what they thought it looked like, but no one had seen it, and then they finally revealed it during the Persian Gulf, and it looked radically different than we thought. But I always said, oh well, some of these things are either high craft military, highly advanced military aircraft that just haven't been revealed to the public, like the SR-71 people hadn't seen, and it was just super top secret aircraft. But now they're actually revealing that they're showing footage of objects doing things that defy the laws of physics as we know them, and rapidly accelerating, decelerating, and doing like 25, 30 Gs. So it is really interesting to see, and this is timely because he's a top test pilot, and he's reporting that he's seen these things, and they have photos too. So that gets the wheels in motion. I hear what Raquel's saying, but I always missed that in this episode. I just thought he just saw a UFO.
You're going to see he's a dumbass. I'll show you more as we watch more. But Michael Beacom sent a gift to you, boss.
Yeah, I want to get that out. Yeah, I always like to before you pass by. So thank you, Michael Beacom. Appreciate that. You were too kind, my friend. He says, I always wanted someone at Harlington Straker studio to walk in accidentally to them screening real UFO footage and the director disses it as awful. There you go. Absolutely. Thank you for that, Michael.
That's a great quote.
Yes,
great
indeed.
line.
Indeed, good one.
Yeah.
Well, I never knew I would be put in a position to try to not like Paul. I always kind of liked the character. I mean, yeah, he's headstrong, he screwed up, and characters screw up in shows and different things like that. And sometimes when you screw up, but I don't know. And considering the circumstances, I mean, all he did was want to stop and take the picture. He had no idea he was going to get shot at. I mean,
he's in a private vessel.
Oh, he disobeyed orders, no question about it.
He did.
I'm not arguing that. He did.
Yeah.
And but I'm saying there was nothing malicious there. It was curiosity, and it cost him, which is a life lesson.
I think that's very naive because not you directly. I'm just saying he is naive.
Yes, he is. Yes.
But just because he's obviously a dumbass pilot, because we know that Peter Carlin is on his way, and he's lucky that he's lucky that he wasn't also killed. But the thing is that he's in a civilian experimental craft. He has permission to be there, but he's told to leave. And his boss specifically says to him, look, like you're interfering with air traffic safety. You have to get out of the way. We're calling you back. And he says, no. And he looks at Jim and says, just shut the radio off. We're not going to listen to this. So he's responsible for Jim's death. And he is a gigantic piece of flaming dog poop.
I mean, he was arrogant and disagreed orders, and it cost him big time. And no one disagrees with that. Those are the facts. That's not even an opinion. It's true. He screwed up and he caused everything. He disobeyed orders. Absolutely.
Well, they just tell him to alter course.
It makes him a monster. That's all I'm saying. It makes him a screw up.
Yeah, get out of the way. Like when you're told to get out of the way, you get out of the way. You don't.
Well, I know, but they got characters.
No, but there's no way. But they also don't tell him you're on a crash. I'm not excusing, but they don't tell him there's a crash course. There's no one.
Yeah, but you wouldn't say that over radio.
Well,
why would
anyway.
Oh yeah, they would. They would.
Come on. Why would the military say that over the radio to a civilian craft? Come on.
The air traffic controller would radio collision course.
They didn't know. They were just told to get him out of there.
Yeah.
So he needs to get the hell out of the way, and he disobeyed a direct order, and it caused the death of someone. He is responsible. He is a flaming piece of dog poop. He does not get off the hook from me, and I'm not going to allow him to make excuses. He also shows almost no remorse, and so he's very lucky that the sister of Jim's sister, works for Shadow, because imagine if she was a civvy, as the military people call them. Imagine how devastated she would be at how stoic he is, how obtuse he is, how single-minded he is in explaining his alien theories because he spotted UFOs. That's all fine and good. You murdered somebody, dude. This is manslaughter. What is wrong with you? Some would even say it's worse than manslaughter. No, you were told to get the hell out of the way.
Reckless negligence for sure. I mean, absolutely.
Well, these guys are up
criminal
there
negligence.
Well, they're risking their lives whenever you do a test flight like that too. So there is a risk, Unfortunately, we had 2 helicopters, God rest the souls, all that Sikorsky aircraft today, just military guys training had an accident and hit into each other, which is very, very sad. Training, there's a lot of military deaths just in training, unfortunately, and accidents. And, you're risking your lives when you go up there. So I don't know. I think I wouldn't be as harsh on him because I think he saw the UFO. And he's like, what the heck is going on here? And his curiosity, and maybe he's kind of like a Fox Mulder like you see all the UFO books and everything that he's got in his apartment. So I wonder if this was something psychologically that he'd latched onto, and they kind of infer that with all his the books that you can see. So
he's unprofessional.
Oh yeah, he is. He's a maverick, and he's absolutely. Yeah. But remember, all of these things, quote unquote, if you don't want to say qualities, or what Straker was intrigued by about him. That's why he assigned Jean Marsh character to pretend to be the sister of his friend, and to go to she was leader of what was it called, Project Paul Foster.
Mm-hmm.
So Straker apparently thought, this is a guy, first of all, he's headstrong, he was arrogant, but he thinks he's talented. He's the kind of guy that's tough and resourceful and perfect for an organization like ours. People who have to be people to cut off ties from families and different things, for the most part, are people who are able to work this kind of job where you're not going to have a lot of contact or a lot of family life or a lot of real life at all. And a lot of these people are different from us. So Foster didn't think he was a POS. He thought, this is a guy that could be useful to us.
Well, yeah, and that's
not Foster. Not Foster. I mean, a Straker. Sorry, Straker.
Yeah, and that's why Straker just says, like, look, we'll try and find a use for him, but if we don't find a use for him, he has to be killed.
Oh yeah,
he was going to kill him at the end.
So Straker's no prince either. Straker's a pretty bright bastard as well.
No, I think it's incredibly important that Straker would have him killed. There are a lot of secrets here. I guess maybe I'm different than a lot of people. I guess maybe I should admit that that's also my personality. I very much strongly question authority, but I'm somebody, at least according to my personality tests in university, who uses the proper channels to test authority and bring down authority if authority is not being lawful or just. So for me, like, when Paul's told to get the hell out of the way, he should get the hell out of the way. And if that person creates some sort of breach in security that could kill other people, like he did by, killing Jim, that's a person who is a risk of killing other people. And if he can't shut up, you have to put him in an I Love Me jacket and pump him full of blow dart level meds, or you got to off him. But somebody like that just going out anywhere is a danger to himself and everyone around him. He is a disaster. And so that's why Straker says, look, bring this guy to a heel, bring this dog to a heel, or this dog's going to the pound. It's going to go night-night. And so, Freeman agrees. Freeman says, okay, like, if we can't do it, if he can't get his crap together, he's gone.
Yeah, but Straker sees potential in him, which is the whole point. He saw this guy absolutely did something wrong when he disobeyed orders, and yet, here we are because that happened. If he didn't disobey the order, Straker probably wouldn't have been interested in him. To be honest with you, he saw this is a guy that takes initiative, does something absolutely irresponsible, and then continues to be that. And Straker goes, well, sometimes these kind of, I don't want to say sociopaths or anything like that, but some of these people that aren't exactly ordinary, normal people are in this, we need in this organization. That's a guy I can use, but he's going to have to be taught some discipline. He's going to have to be taught that, we're fighting for the world here. So don't think I won't put a bullet in you if you're not useful to me. So Straker's pretty cutthroat himself. And
I love it.
I think Foster's a broken character who made a bad mistake. I just don't think he's a monster. And he's, true.
He's an idiot.
Yeah, because he
was an idiot, but disobeying orders. Yeah.
They tell him to change course, and he's seeing a UFO that he's like, if I saw the Starship Enterprise flying and someone tells me to change course, I'm going to take pictures and not change course. I mean, I'm going to get shin kicks, but I'm not going to do it,
Totally different person than me. If I'm in outer space and I get a call from my corporation and it's the corporate boss and he says, look, you got to get the hell out of the way. You got to alter course. And I see a light on the horizon, I go to the new course and I have my co-pilot, taking pictures the whole way to the new set of coordinates. I don't stay in the way and get people killed. And I certainly, I'm someone who behaves more like that guy from the show that Andy makes me watch, that one with the Navy SEALs. I'm like that character. I'm in real life. That's what I'm actually like. If someone on my team died, I would have that same amount of remorse and that same amount of attachment and professionalism to walk up to that door in uniform, to tap on that door, and to bring all of the resources to bear on that family to give them love and support and extend, deep apologies. But I mean, he's just like disco dude with his spinning bookshelf, and he's mixing himself a drink, talking about how many aliens he's seen. He's insufferable. He needs a slap across the face. Just whap. I don't advocate violence.
I think, let me put it to you like this. Straker is, if he lived in the 23rd century where Kirk was, he would be a starship captain of the same caliber, but he would also follow the same types of values that Kirk does. If you take Kirk and put him, sorry for the time travel affinity, put him back in front of Shadow, Kirk would be not so much like his 23rd century partner. In other words, he would be the same, make the same decision with Foster. He'd go, well, if you're useful to me and you have talent, so you can work for me. Otherwise, I'm going to pull a bullet in your head and I'm going to sleep well that night. Because Kirk's job is not to explore the stars in the 23rd century. In this case, his job is to protect the Earth from aliens. So, so they're two similar type people in two different situations. Now, Foster is the Gary Mitchell in the situation. Very arrogant, a dark side.
Great characterization, boss.
He's corruptible, but as long as he doesn't get the problem with going through the barrier and having his ESPE raised, he's a guy that Kirk has trusted with his life. Those rodent things on dimmers, those Darcy through. I took one meant for you. He could rely on everything. He trusts him with his life, but until something happens to make him a monster. So Foster's walking that precipice, and he does something really bad that costs the life of a kid. But like I kind of agree with Mark. If I see a ship, I might be distracted and decide to not thinking I'm going to get shot down. He had no way of knowing he was going to get shot down. I might make that same reckless mistake and then have to agonize with it and live with it later. Now, it would tear me to pieces. Foster's the kind of guy, maybe he's pretty pragmatic about it in this episode, but let's face it, Straker's always pragmatic too. We've seen what happens later with some of the stuff, horrible things he faces. These are stiff upper lip British people who handle it a little bit differently. So I think it's all about the circumstances. I think that's what I love about the character of Foster is he is not perfect. In fact, he is a problem child. And Foster says, I can use this boss.
I don't see it as an either or situation. He has his camera. His little pocket camera that he's not supposed to have. Jim did. Okay. Jim, I think his last name is Marsh. Jim Marsh is not supposed to have a camera. He's not supposed to have a camera on board.
Why? Most pilots have cameras that I know.
Well, they were supposed to be taking all of their pictures with the equipment that was provided on board. That's my understanding through the dialogue. Anyway, what I'm saying is you can obey orders. You can make sure that when somebody who is controlling your air traffic space, telling you directly to remove yourself from the situation, it's not up to you to say, oh, well, somebody could shoot at me. When you're in an airplane and you're flying an airplane and air traffic control gets on the line with you and says, I need to move you to move into these coordinates immediately. You say no. And then the person comes back and says, you are disobeying a direct order to move to these coordinates. And he says, yes, because I want to take some pictures. I think that guy belongs in jail. I don't think that person is a good person. He's endangering public health and safety, and somebody got killed because of it. I think he's a waste of ASS, and I don't like it at all. There are other ways of achieving what you want to achieve without hurting people and without doing the wrong thing. I think it's preposterous to say that when somebody is contacted by air traffic control or the corporation that is controlling your coordinates in space, and they tell you to get the hell out of the way and you refuse, that you're not responsible for the death of another person. You most certainly are.
Oh,
and there are no excuses. You could take pictures as you drive away, fly away, but you do not have to stay there and get people killed. There's a reason why you're being told to move.
Well, the
He's
crazy thing is too,
he should be responsible.
Not excusing, but he's at 250,000 feet where no commercial aircraft can be and no other aircraft in this experimental ship. So when they Straker, they don't know what it is. They say not a commercial airline. It's too high and way off the airlines. What the blazes is it? Nothing can be this high. So I think part of Paul's hubris too is they tell him to change course, but it's not like you're in the standard air traffic control lane where you think you might hit something. So when you fly, across Atlantic, they have envisioned tubes basically that are numbered, and it's a course. So when you fly, you're flying like basically through an invisible tube, and they're numbered and they're coordinated so that aircraft are flying, and the air traffic control has you flying in these cross-continental and also across the country. But it's basically like an invisible highway with lanes, so to speak. So obviously, thankfully today we've got collision radar and early warning systems. But the aircraft, you're right. If the aircraft controller tells you, hey, change course or collision imminent. But I think part of it's the hubris of him. He's a test pilot, best of the best, basically almost an astronaut. They're up at 250,000 feet, and they tell him, change course, and they don't say, this military ship is going to shoot you or something.
Yeah, but he shouldn't have to be told that.
I
That's
agree,
not his job.
but what I'm saying, his hubris and his he's like, and he sees a UFO. He's like, what the heck? It can't be another. There's no explanation given for the change of course. He's obviously did the wrong thing.
Yeah, but a pilot doesn't need that explanation, especially when they're working in an experimental aircraft and they're working in space. I think it's very important to listen to your air traffic controller, and it's very important when your air traffic controller says, "Let me get this straight. You are now currently disobeying a direct order to alter course." And he says, "Turn the radio off. I want to take some pictures." This guy belongs in jail. And I think it's very important. It's very important to express that that's not the way things work in real life, and that what Paul did was wrong, and somebody would up dying because of it. And we're going to learn later
why he probably
that Paul is like this. Paul is somebody who would rather entertain his own thoughts and his own views and his own wishes than commit himself to duty. Duty. I am definitely someone who will commit themselves to duty. It does not mean that I don't still look at the aircraft and say, wow, I want to take some pictures of that. It's that I do both at the same time, because it's very important to fulfill your duty and to never hurt other people. And there are rules in place for a reason, and you have to work within those rules. If you don't like those rules and those rules don't work out, you can change those rules. But I just think it's very important to put safety, the health and safety of others, and to perform your duty before engaging in your own curiosities.
Well, he's a broken character. I don't disagree that he should not have disobeyed orders, and he could be held and should be held responsible. However, Straker obviously saw potential in him and saw him as useful. And I do know there are episodes down the road that we won't talk about yet where he did some very moral things and some very good things, Foster. And I think he has a redemption type of arc, I believe. Hey, Retro Blasting, good to see you there, my friend.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, Michael.
But hey, Keely Chow, roll tide. Michael
roll
says,
tide.
Michael says, I can count on one hand the number of Pauls I have met in my life that weren't douchebags. Any Pauls out there? Hey, take it up with
my brother-in-law is a great guy.
Yeah,
don't take it personally.
His real first name.
I've never thought about it. I've never thought about that, Michael. I mean, I've of all the names, that's not one I've thought about too much. But I love it. Michael Beacom says, "Got to get to bed. We'll be lurking, seeing you. Thank you, buddy.
Good night, Beacums.
Take care, my friend."
Night.
And can you plant a little kiss on Cassandra's cheek for me? Thank you so much. Buddy. Night, Beacums.
Jill says, "Yes, I think so too. Foster's definitely redeemed from his terrible mistake. Also agree that those were Paul's thoughts. Look at Pete. He's a selfish, arrogant dickhead, like a lot of Daredevil type people like that. And Daredevils who take risks too much. He's the cowboy. He's the outlier like that and stuff in the British step upper lifts kind of way. I think he's a great character. I kind of like him, but again, Straker, saw something. It saw him that he could use him, and that's what Straker is a user by necessity. So I thought, but again, it's fascinating what you're saying. Both of you are saying about him, and I think that's what makes him a good character. He is complicated. I think he's interesting.
That's exactly it, and it's one of the reasons why I love this show, because the writing is just phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Because if you walk away from it and you give some thought to what happened, wow, you can sure push back the walls of this imaginary universe and make it much larger. And and that's really the test of something incredible. It's not like I'm I'm offended or something. No, I think it's great that Paul's like this, but it sets the tone for whether or not you trust Paul. Will Paul disobey or obey orders? And is Paul willing to kill someone else, allow someone else to die to satisfy his own curiosity? And, it's very important to mention this. And, I think some people are also talking about this in the chat, that we later learn that Paul has had multiple sightings of these alien spacecraft. So it's not the first time. So, him being, a jerk off by staying in place and doing that was something that was only involved his own satisfaction, and it wound up killing someone. And by the way, too, we don't know anything about Jim Marsh. I think his last name's Marsh. Anyway, we don't know anything about Jim Marsh, but one thing is certain, that we can't assume that Paul is any better a pilot than Jim Marsh, because Jim is there beside him in that experimental aircraft, and now he's dead because of Paul.
Yep.
Sometimes we like our heroes, question authority too. And this is, just one of our favorite episodes, of course, the menagerie, Spock is, it's a totally different motivation, but he's disobeying orders, and he's taking Pike to what planet
Talos
is it?
4.
Talos 4. Against, and there's a death penalty if you go there, if you violate. Of course, he's got, obviously, we find out why he's doing it and the motivations. But Spock, one of our favorite all-time characters, acts just showing his humanity there, by taking Pike to that planet. But that's I'm trying to think. There's a lot of instances too where we root for our heroes, and of course, Paul was just being, not following orders, and just, he didn't have an ulterior, a motive where, you could say, oh, he's trying to save someone or do something. That's
but what you're saying doesn't
theme.
Work. That's crappy rhetoric,
I'm just
because Spock winds up feeling terrible about what he did, and he's willing to accept responsibility for it.
Yeah.
Paul Foster does not accept any responsibility for the death of his co-pilot. He shows absolutely no remorse. He doesn't represent himself professionally, either as a colonel or as a civvy who's a pilot, and he is actually super arrogant about it, and then winds up being rewarded for it. So I don't see the parallel, but
no, I wasn't trying.
I do know what you're trying to say.
I'm not saying it's a parallel. I'm just saying sometimes we do like our heroes to fight that authority and to go against orders. Like a James Bond who doesn't follow orders, but then you save the day and you're doing it to risk yourself. Spock. What I was trying to say is there's not really a altruistic motive for Paul to do what he did, which resulted in his death. But sometimes we do love to see our characters, fight that authority or maybe disobey orders. But then
it be for altruistic reasons. Otherwise,
that's what I was trying to illustrate.
Raquel will not back you unless you are doing it for incredibly high moral reasons. Your ethics have to be spotless when you do this sort of thing. You have to, if you're going to disobey orders, if you're going to do these sorts of things, you need to make sure that you are doing it for absolutely incredible reasons that everyone will support. And there can't be any doubt there. And that's not the case for Paul. But don't worry, I'm working super hard on him for the rest of the time. Spock, it's just he has to be held responsible for this, because in the show he's not. He's basically rewarded.
Well, a lot of that's writing, though. First of all, Straker's the one. Remember, your boy Straker's the one that rewarded him. So
I know, and I do love Straker.
Brian says this wasn't the different. This wasn't the different.
That different.
I mean, that different from TNG. The first duty they went against orders. Someone died. Difference is Paul was correct about the UFO, but the result was a preventable death at his hands. That's a good point. Let's talk about the episode. Let's finish up with the episode, though.
That was a great point, though. Yeah.
Oh no! Look, it was fascinating. It was a fascinating conversation about the character because this is his introduction. So, yeah.
What I love is the mystery of this, and as the viewer, really finding, as we started by saying that this really should be episode number 2, and then you're taken into the point of view of someone who's on this mystery and has seen a UFO, has the data erased, and is trying to actually prove that there are UFOs, and has no idea, that this war is going on, and that, Straker is running, the Shadow organization, which is below a movie studio, and you've got all these fantastic cars. And then I love that reveal in the scene, where, he says things are not always what they seem. And, everyone lines up, the set director, the woman on the plane who had him in the headlock, the sister, and everyone's got, the music goes, and you've got the fantastic uniforms, the 60s uniforms that they're wearing. And it's and he walks in, and the doors slide open like Star Trek. And of course the whole, office just going down as he flips the switch there, and the whole office is on an elevator. I mean, that's just such a fantastic open. You can only imagine what you'd feel like, if you say you walked into, someone's office, you think you're there, to meet someone, and they flip a switch and you go down 4 stories, and there's a secret compound below. So this whole setup, and of course the sets look gorgeous, the ships are gorgeous. It's just and like now we're looking at the clothing, looks futuristic, and
there's almost a
very well done.
Prisoner feel to this episode.
There is a prisoner feel to it, and it's very profound and philosophical when he takes them into that studio to scare the SHIT out of him, because what he's trying to do is not only assert himself as the alpha male and to show that dominance, like I may kill you, dude, and but at the same time, he's sending these messages about, I don't know, that Paul should sort of feel like he should be questioning his own sanity. What did he actually see? Did he just see what he wanted to see? And this is very long, and it's very drawn out, and it is very prisoner-like. It's very cerebral. It's very profound. It is very, very enjoyable to watch, because you are actively thinking, regardless of your education level, you're actively thinking about this, and this is all being done by the incredible people who write this show. You are sitting there thinking, wow, Straker is scaring the living SHIT out of this guy. This guy doesn't know whether or not he's going to shoot him. He's trying to show his dominance. Are the bullets real? Is that a real gun? Are these just studio effects? And then he starts playing with his mind, and he starts gaslighting him. What did you see? And he's not saying it out loud. He's trying to show him that the performance or the mind plays tricks on you. And so for that, it's bloody brilliant. Anyway.
It is. I mean, I love it. I love this episode because, especially when they're back there on the ITV backlot, which a lot of prisoners, well, some bits were. I mean, the same people who produced the Prisoner has almost same look too. With Straker's messing with him, that was just. I felt again. It's just he's so cool. Straker's just such a badass. I mean, just scaring this dude like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the gun. Didn't the gun turn out to be real in the end? I just watched this episode twice today. I'm trying to remember.
No, it turns out to be one that sets off planted charges. So the charges are all over the place, and he's choosing to set the gun off. And of course, the gun symbolizing death and symbolizing the fact that Straker could take his life. And then could, yeah, he just makes him, he uses the gun in two ways: to threaten him with death, and also to test his mind, to play with his mind, and
because he
make
locks him in too,
question
right?
reality.
He sees that Paul sees that he's locked into that room too, right? Or that huge studio at that point. It's like, you can't leave unless I say you can leave.
Soundproof too.
Soundproof, right? So
remember that?
Yeah.
Soundproof too.
Just like, so he could have just taken him. I'm assuming, if he didn't like what he said or how he acted, they were just gonna disappear him, right? So and that's what actually really gets you going on the series too, or piques your interest, because you realize it's not any kind of standard unit here. They're fighting a war, so that Straker is like James Bond, right? I guess he's got license to kill or do what he
and you've got the images of Vladek Shaybal up on the screen right now, and that gets right into that James Bond that you're talking about. It's one of the reasons why I find this show incredibly sexy. And I would just love to say that Vladek Shaybal is bloody brilliant as Dr. Douglas Jackson. And I think that it is incredibly clever to give him such an obvious alias. We know he has this thick accent. We later find out that he's a psychiatrist. He's also a doctor. He has many talents, and it's very obvious that he is quite a dangerous man. And here he is, and given the name Dr. Douglas Jackson, and that's not his name, and he looks like he's been ripped right out of a James Bond movie, and he's just beautiful to look at. He's beautiful to listen to. He's the perfect villain, and yet here he's not. So just the writing is incredible, the casting is incredible, and it is an amazing journey. And I totally agree, Mark. A lot of the time, I feel like I am in a James Bond film when I'm watching this, and it's just terrific.
And I just love the 60s retro too. It just, I guess, growing up watching the older Bond flicks too, and in Toxic Tuesday, we just a few months ago went through all the the original Bond, starting with Dr. No in order with Sean Connery. It's just the vibe you get from those. It's I know the new Bond, well, I'm not going to get into why I don't like the new Bond, but it's set in the modern day, so it loses some of that aesthetic too when you don't have all those cool British cars and clothes. We don't get enough of that. It's just it's like you're time traveling too. I said time traveling, crap. When you watch those when you watch those old movies, it just and it's funny too how things that are old come back into style too. So some of the 70s stuff is coming back into style. Things rotate naturally. Some of the furniture, like, it was funny, my parents had some furniture they bought in the 60s, and then in the 80s probably no one wanted it, and now everyone's it's some kind of what's the term, modern, I'm forgetting the term, but it's more modern furniture. And now it's, you look it up, it's like, Scandinavian, thank you, perfect. And it's worth a ton of money now because everyone wants it again. So it's just fun, and this stuff is these designs are timeless. I think
it's beautiful.
they really do work, and they look great. Yep.
Guys, Lemon Pie just walked through the door.
Hey, Lemon Pie.
And Simply Steve says, cliche Bond villain. Yeah, Simply Steve. Isn't that incredible? Like, it's like Anderson is like some sort of a genius. I think it's incredible that he would use Vladek Shaybal as this cliche Bond villain, and then as it turns out, he's not a villain at all. And so that it turns the thing on its head. And he uses Sai Chan the same way. Sai Chan comes out and she's looking, incredible on the plane, and she immediately submits Paul Foster when he gets out of line, and we know that she could kill him. And just when we're thinking that she's another cliched Bond villain, we find out that she too is just like, quote unquote, Dr. Douglas Jackson. She is also a hero working for Shadow. So some really brilliant writing going on here, and it just earns so much respect because of its thoughtfulness and its its willingness to play with these tropes and twist them and turn them and make them fresh and new. It's really nice.
And you do have a great point there, Raquel. I know maybe we're disagreeing a little bit in certain, on scope, but I never thought of that way. So that's, you always come up with a brilliant way to look at things. I never, kind of glossed it over like, oh, he just didn't change course, because of course there's a UFO there. But, that's a really great catch there. That's why I love talking about these things with you, because you find out new things, and most people wouldn't have thought of that, I'm gonna venture to say. So just wanted to compliment you on that.
Well, I just want you to know that I love you, and I love that you and Clobby put up with me. But off air, I always tell everyone that you two are my true friends, because I can sit down and I can talk with you guys about simple things, about pop culture things, about cerebral things, about super controversial things, and I always walk away not only having enjoyed myself, but thoroughly respecting you for the things you say and how you say them. And I think that that's incredibly rare in our society today. So I just love your company, and I love Clobby's company, and thank you for putting up with me. I adore both
we're not
of
putting
you.
up with you. You put up with us. What are you talking about?
No.
You're talking about Willis.
So talking about his apartment, I know that you and Clobby off air would agree when I say in my notes here, one punch brings a man down and a kick knocks him out for good. And then I put underneath, you know what? I really miss realistic fight scenes. Nowadays, a 120-pound woman can take 50 punches from a 300-pound Goliath. And here we see these two goons, rush into Paul's apartment. And like, oh boy, what kind of a punch is that? It's like an undercut, but it's like it's got the power of a roundhouse punch. Like he wound up and just punched him right in the stomach, and he's so winded he can't move. And then once he's kicked, that's it. And it's just so realistic. It's like, give me more, I want more. And it's so pronounced now that we live in this world where the 105-pound girl who, probably has an eating disorder is kicking the crap out of a 300-pound guy who's probably on anabolic steroids, and he's like 6'8". Like, it's just ridiculous, and there she is taking 100 punches, and she's like, I'm gonna get you, and she's like, one kick and he's dead. And so the realistic fight scenes in this show are just so good. What did you guys think of that?
Absolutely. By the way, Jake Picasso, hello there, and Zathras is here. Hey, Zathras.
Hey, crap.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. This was at a time when we didn't have any of those problems, where people just knew what it was, and yes, usually fight scenes aren't fun to watch. I mean, a fight in real life is pretty awkward, and if someone pops you on the gets hit, you get hit like that, you can't take 20, you can't get the living crap beat out of you, like 50 kicks and punches and all that stuff, and just expect to be standing up. It does make more sense the way they did it. Yes, and probably he has some combat training, I'm sure, but it was outnumbered.
Yeah.
Well, the one time they did have a woman, she was using a judo move or some karate or some kind of martial arts to,
well, Sai-chan
lock his head, which was
Paul. Sai-chan outweighs Paul, though.
Well, it was the woman on the plane.
Yeah, Sai-chan outweighs Paul by quite a bit, and yes,
you think so?
Yeah, she's trained in judo. Yeah, she would.
Well, I thought it was just more technique and skill.
She had some technique, like from around the neck or
both.
Something.
I think it was both. You know what I mean?
Plus, when you're in that position, like a woman fighting uses her legs and her weight, and she leverage and to intelligently fight. And of course, when you've seen a fight. You're right, Mike. Clobber Dumbs. Yeah, someone gets hit to the jaw like that, full force, unless they're a boxer, or even if they are a boxer, they go down. So yeah, you always see these fights where quote unquote Rocky type fights where your hero takes like 50 punches to the head and keeps on going. It's real life. It ain't happening. First time I was doing some sparring. I'm like, oh, I'm pretty good. I'm kind of cool. And then your friend pops you in the nose, hits you across the side of the face. You're like, time out. That really hurt. You start to feel woozy. So it's until you get slammed in the face. Yeah. And then it's if it's just on TV, yeah, it's not so realistic, but that's why that fight was so good. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like once it becomes more realistic, it raises the stakes because you're not anticipating more violence. What you're anticipating is the outcome of the violence. How hurt is this person? What's going to happen now? And so you see the story shift in a way in which it's enhanced because the focus isn't on the violence. The focus is on the result of the violence and how that's going to impact the story. And so it happens, it's swift, it's brutal, it's ugly, and then you're left thinking, oh my, I hope Paul's okay. He's going to have a concussion, definitely. What if he has internal bleeding? These guys mean business. And then you get on with it instead of sitting there watching people just, beating the SNOT out of each other, for 20 minutes. What is that for? In our genre, what we like, what we talk about as the trinity of Clobberin times is science fiction. And that doesn't really have a place in science fiction. So yeah, I love the realism. Can I ask what you guys thought of some of these crazy conversations that they had in the sound studio? So Straker is a total badass, and Paul is like a little biatch, and I love how Straker has the gun, and Anderson is playing with you hardcore, and Straker looks at him with the gun, and Paul says, "Is that gun real?" And
Yep.
Straker says, "I aim to find out." I love it.
Yeah.
And then I wrote down that part about it's soundproof too.
Soundproof? Yeah, I was messed up.
It was so, but even the attention to the little the puns and the mind games. I mean, it's just diabolical. It's so good. Anyway,
acoustic gun. Jill likes him. Jill likes Paul. She says he's a cute biatch.
I understand. Yeah,
we understand, Jill. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So the lines here: some office, it's too big, sparsely furnished, very hard to heat, but we won't be disturbed. Oh, it's soundproof too. And then Paul goes right back at him. Look, 10 years ago, you were a colonel in the Air Force, a degree in astrophysics. Yeah, 2 years lunar research at MIT. Yeah. So Straker is
don't go anywhere.
Brilliant guy.
Isn't this incredible? Read that again. A degree in astrophysics, 2 years lunar research at MIT.
And now he makes movies. And he makes movies too.
So he's just like Kirk. He's a stack of books with legs.
Yep.
Yeah. So and then he crashed while flying too. So as a career officer, what happened? Oh, it was a car crash. The car crash made me want to change
in the first episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Why did it crash? A blowout. A Rolls Royce at 50 miles an hour. They don't make the tires, which is a great dig back.
Look at the way tires.
Maybe an American company.
Oh, yeah, very British.
Yes, it's so cute.
Yeah. But Paul keeps going after him though too, right? So he's going after him. He's not giving up even after all this. So
well, he threatens to expose him, right?
Yeah.
And I like how Elin doesn't like him. Like when he walks in the office, Elin, Straker's secretary, she just looks Paul up and down. She does not like him. She does not want to let him into the office. He just rubs Elin the wrong way. And of course I love Elin. I think that she's sexy and beautiful and loyal and just amazing. And I do have to say though, when that happens, when he goes down into the belly of the operation, when he gets into the belly of Shadow, the first thing that comes to mind is the show's going to shift a little bit now. So it's important for me to publicly say that I will always love Alec Freeman over Paul Foster, because Paul Foster is a schmuck. and I would have coffee with Alec Freeman. He is very manly. Alec Freeman is very manly. Look, there are a lot of ladies out there who would never date Alec Freeman. I would go out on a date with Alec Freeman. And Alec Freeman, unlike Paul Foster, the schmuck, Alec Freeman has the highest morals and ethics. He would never endanger anyone's life. He cares about every single person who he works with and who he works for and who works under him. To the point where he'll go toe to toe with Straker to preserve their safety, their sense of well-being, even how they spend time with their families. So Alec Freeman is a hero. Paul Foster is a zero. And I will always prefer Alec Freeman. I don't care what all the people in the audience say about how Alec Freeman's not cute enough. Paul Foster is a schmuckadoodle-doo. That's all I have to say on that. Anyway. And I think it's cool. I will say this. I think it's incredibly cool that Straker will cultivate expertise instead of killing someone who threatens security. But at the same time, Paul Foster is a schmuck. He's a schmuckadoodle-doo. And it's going to catch up with him. You're going to see what I mean. You're going to see what I mean.
Reggie? Oh, wow. John,
Reggie?
Shaggy Rupa, say that. Reggie? Oh, Shaggy.
So, guys,
okay.
For me, this is an A++++.
But Foster gets an F.
No, he doesn't get an F. He needs to go to jail. He needs to go to jail for a little while.
With an F. He needs to get F'd in jail. Nah. Sorry. I give it an A+. I love it. Great episode all the way around, top notch. And I like the character of Paul. I still like Paul. Don't worry, Jill. Two of us like Paul. I think he's cool. And again, he is a jerk off for what he did. I think he made a mistake. I don't think there's any way he could have known. And he got taught how being reckless can cost a life. And he did. Now, again, this being a show written in 1970, not written today with all the fifis. If it was written today, for example, he'd be crying about it for 5 episodes. He wouldn't be able to get out of his soup and be whining out of guilt. And but this is the guy
that's eating macaroni and cheese.
Right. This is he'd be eating macaroni and cheese. Exactly. This is 1970, but it takes place in the far-flung future of 1980. So they just handle things differently. He's pragmatic. He doesn't show his emotions. I'm sure he's not happy about what happened to his buddy. It was unexpected. I don't think everything was entirely his fault, but he's got to learn his lesson. And I like that Straker saw that he could use him, and that's why Straker has to use people. So there you go. So anybody who wants to put a rating for this episode, you can, and we'll get
Mark,
our
what's
chief
your
engineer.
rating, honey?
Mark, what do you think?
Oh, a definite A+. I just this episode really sucked me into the series. You know, when you start first watching something too, you're like, people have said it's good, and then sometimes when they over-promise something, I've been disappointed many times before, where I think something's been hyped. Say, for example, and you're like, this is the best movie ever. You're gonna love this show. You got to watch it, and not that they're saying you have to watch it, but if it's a friend or someone's opinion you like. So when I first started watching this, I was like, how good is this going to be? Is this going to be, is it going to live up to some of the hype? And in this episode right away, it really draws you into the series, and you're really intrigued by the characters and the sets and the cars, and the ladies are cute, and I guess the guys are cute too, right? So yeah, it's just got it all. So it's an obscure. I guess it's an. Would you guys consider this a pretty obscure show? I guess I would say it's not in sci-fi fandom.
There's only one season. Yeah, I mean, it's only science fiction geeks know about it, really, pretty much.
There should have been 7,000 seasons of this show.
Should have been 7,000. There you go. That's what I'd say.
We got Space 1999. Yep.
What?
I mean, the first season of Space 1999 is great, but not once you learn that that this was supposed to replace this. What?
Yeah.
And then there's Maya. Like then we get to season 2, and what are you doing? Why? Stop that. I mean, I love Space 1999 by itself, but in the context of the fact that it was supposed to replace UFO, it is outrageous. I have to separate the two in my mind as though they're completely divorced. They're not related at all. Otherwise, I slip into rage and outrage, and I can't even handle it. I just lose it.
Yep.
Well, look, I can't blame you. Yeah, but it's not his fault. I mean, it's not the fault of anybody on that show that they got screwed over. At least Jerry Anderson, to his credit, when they wouldn't let him continue this, at least he tried to do something else. But I never really was that big on Space 1999, to be honest with you. I liked it okay, I guess, but it was never my favorite or anything, But now it makes me even more mad.
You mean Skydiver, Brian Hepburn? Listen, Brian Hepburn, I'm cosplaying Skydiver. Don't be harsh. Don't be harsh.
Well, he doesn't mind. He said guys. No, Raquel, he said guys with netting shirts. He didn't say anything about ladies with netting shirts.
Look, the guys on Skydiver are way hotter than like the guys in Shadow. Sorry.
Well, you got to be with the netting shirt, right? I mean,
you do.
Nowhere to hide. You don't even see me in a netting shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Butterface. Everything butterface. Anyway, that's how I feel about the guys on that show. Everything but their faces. Anyway, that's a terrible thing to say, but I'm just saying it.
You think they're ugly? You're calling these guys ugly?
No, some of them are like Bradley's not bad, and Peter's not bad. Like Pete, I love my Pete.
Alec's ugly, huh?
Alec is not handsome, but he's the kind of guy who you want to marry. He's the kind of guy who you could go on 1,000 dates with, and he would make you laugh. He would make you smile. He would make you feel loved. He would have incredibly intelligent conversation. You would never be bored with Alec. Alec's the man you marry. He's a very, very sweet and kind person, very charming, very caring, and has incredible ethics. He is just marvelous. I love Alec.
Well, he got fired for being ugly anyway.
He did, and obviously, I don't.
Sad.
I'm upset about that. I don't enjoy that, which is why I took my little jab at him earlier there, where I was like, Paul Foster's a schmuck.
He is a schmuck.
Freeman will always be the best.
Pretty boy schmuck. Oh my goodness! So this was fun though. Fun. It's fun reviewing the show, man. Yeah.
And Mark, getting back to what you were saying earlier, I'm so happy that you enjoyed it. Like 2 years ago, I think it was, when it first appeared on my Fire TV here, I just looked at it and I thought, oh, I'm going to give this a chance. And
you fell in love.
The first episode I was in, I was going nuts, and I watched it, and then I got a hold of Clobby, and I was like, Clobby, this thing just came to Canada and I'm losing my mind over it. and I just love it. Now to me, like when I'm thinking about things that make me feel great about science fiction, it's really TOS and then this show at that point. That's how strongly I'm drawn to it for the last 2 years. I think it's around 2 years when it first got released to Canada. It is sensational, and I'm so happy that you're enjoying it.
Let's see who else reviewed it.
Hope everyone else is enjoying it too. Yep.
Simply Steve said F for Bananas Foster, but he was kidding. JT Cook said F. I don't know if he's talking about the show or what, but maybe he didn't like the episode. I don't know. JT, what's up? But no, Simply Steve actually said, but A- for me because of Foster shenanigans. Bring it down a bit.
Yeah.
So got you covered. Now our wonderful friend Jill says, I always enjoy intercepting the UFOs. I agree with everything Clobby said about Foster, but wouldn't oppose him having had to face some criminal repercussions for joining Shadow.
I love you, Jilly.
But as we see in another episode that we won't mention yet, he put, I wanted Bananas Foster. Remember, let me take, look, one thing we'll see without being spoilery is that Straker's lawless. He doesn't follow any laws. He can do whatever the hell he wants because he has carte blanche to save the world from the aliens, and he does not. I mean, if he decided that Foster was no use to him, he would have just dumped him in a river.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to do that, and I believe him, considering something happens in an episode down the road. So putting him through, it could have left him to the law, but the thing is, law didn't do anything. But I guess because the corporation, let's say, I don't know what happened. Maybe the corporation just let it go. But because it was it was not a military organization that he and the other pilot were working for. So they decided to let him off the hook. They decided not to press some charges. I don't know. So if it had been military, yes, he would have been up on some, disciplinary.
He's a civilian pilot. He's a civilian
pilot, and somehow, some way, there was nothing criminal was charged. I mean, it's just the way it was. So there you go.
Plus, if you brought it to trial or something, you would maybe potentially reveal he's going to say I saw a UFO, or they reference that in the episode too.
That's why Stricker pulled strings to get wanted him to work on him. By the way, we should point out this episode. Also, the lady who plays pretends to be his friend's sister was the lovely Jean Marsh, who was once married to the great John Pertwee, the third Doctor.
Oh, yeah.
What is Jim's?
A couple of Doctor Who episodes.
What is Jim's last name in this episode?
What is who?
Jim.
What about him?
What is his last name?
I don't know.
Does he? Does
check.
anybody know? Because Jim and Jean are brother and sister.
Right.
And so it's Marsh is her real name, but what is her name? What are their names in the show?
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, can you do that for me, please? I wish I could get the stupid book, but it's like, what is it again? It's like just under $600, right? Oh.
Well, it depends on where. Not that much, but still.
For me in Canada, it's like $600.
Well, yeah, sorry, yeah, you live on another planet, here, basically. Yeah.
Like the minute I say Canada, you're like, sorry, man. You're Canadian. I'm sorry, man.
Sorry. Yeah. Let's see. So let's check this out. And I got my friend who lives down in Nashville to keep some eyes out. I got for UFO books in that massive bookstore that I went to. I wish there was a way to look, to see if it was on. I wish they had him online, because then I could see, like, I'd be like, "Hey, my buddy, here's the UFO is in the building. Please go down and snag that book and bring it up in the summer when you come up."
It's Wade.
Good Winfinity. Good Winfinity. He says, "I love me some plausible deniability," but I never said that. I like it.
It's Wade, guys. It's Jana Wade. It's Jana and Jim Wade.
Okay. Although she wasn't really a sister, turns out she was.
For what? Oh, Shadow. She wasn't really a sister?
I don't think so. She was working for Shadow.
No, I thought she worked for Shadow as a sister, because
they work for Shadow.
I mean, it's possible, I guess, but I don't think. I don't know.
Let's see here. So we got. Oh, this is Topcast, not for the episode, but yeah.
Hey, she's Topcast. She's cute.
No, I mean for this specific episode.
Is.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah,
Jana,
it's
Wade.
Say
Jana.
Mm-hmm. It's Jana and Jim Wade, brother and sister.
So they were really brother and sister in the episode. So.
In the episode, I believe. Yep. I need that book. I want the book.
Yeah.
I need the book.
One day, you never know. You never know.
Oh, click on George.
George.
George
Sewell.
George of the Jungle.
Okay. Alex,
he was on a Doctor Who episode.
Looks like in real life.
That was from a Doctor Who episode. He was on Resurrection of. Excuse me. Was it Resurrection? No, not Resurrection. He was on Remembrance of the Daleks, the 25th anniversary Doctor Who episode from 1988.
That person is a sweetheart.
He was a monster on that one.
He just oozes sincerity and UFO. He's a very he's a handsome feller. Why'd they get rid of him?
On that Doctor episode, it was 28 years after UFO. It was kind of up there and old at that point. But he was a good actor, though. I like him. I love Alec. I think Alec's a great character. I like that they're all complicated characters. It's him. Stryker's the greatest. I like Foster because you have to have a character doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, Alec, I can't. It's something that got rid of him. Of course, you don't really feel as much because those episodes were run out of order.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I read
temporary. Stupid is forever. Remember that, everyone.
Yeah.
They said they got rid of him because he was not the good-looking guy, quote unquote. Unfortunately, which is, they wanted someone quote unquote better looking. I guess.
Ridiculous. Well, they were
the bad thing about that. Yeah, because they built up the character throughout the series too. So I guess it's a semi-spoiler, but not a big one. But you've grown to really appreciate a character, and then they just you get rid of them for it's not like God forbid the actor had got sick or got a movie role or something. They're just like, oh, we don't like the way you look, so we're gonna get rid of you. It's like, why did you have him on for all those episodes then?
And he stood toe to toe with Straker and said, like, you can't treat your people like this. I realize you have a mission. I realize you have things to do.
Yeah, he wanted to quit the first one.
Yeah, we don't have to discard people or treat them like garbage in the meantime. There are ways of doing these things. You need to slow down and consider the impact you have on the people who work for you. And and I love him for that.
Sounds like the Andersons didn't know what the hell they were doing with the way they treated people. Rob Altus. What is up? Came Wasabi.
Yeah, Simply Steve says Alec Freeman was the nice guy who finished last.
Yeah. I liked Alex. Yeah, it's cool. Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, it's a great show. This is such a good show. We'll never see its like again. It's a damn shame.
Did you see that thing that Scuba Pete sent me? I put it on my Twitter. Scuba Pete sent me a beautiful 20 or 30 minute little documentary from YouTube where they interviewed all the women of Shadow. So everyone from UFO. And they talk about, of course, Gay being in charge of the moon and being a brilliant astrophysicist who Straker sees as his equal, as his right hand, the only person who he trusts. And then that shifts to Nina. And so they talk about that. And they talk about, because it's quite incredible, because here you have Gay Ellis and then you have Nina Barry in charge of a moon base. These are two astrophysicists. Gorgeous. These are incredible women. And so it was so groundbreaking. Remember, folks, this was written in 1968. So absolutely incredible. And I'll repost it. Scuba Pete sent it to me.
Yeah, is it public, or like it's like a public YouTube video? Or obviously,
it is. No? It's public, and it is just delightful to be with all of these gorgeous women as they talk about how fun it was to be on this show.
Well, thank you for finding that, Scuba Pete.
Cool. Yeah, awesome. Scuba Pete's awesome. I love Scuba Pete.
We'll have to watch it later. Coolness. Well, it's good. It's fun reviewing this show each week. It's just what a cool show. So good. That was fun. Always fun to do that.
Well, I do have some show and tell now. If you guys,
can do some show and tell. As long as it has nothing to do with food.
No, there's no food.
I'm banning food. I'm too hungry.
Well, actually, I 3D printed the Enterprise refit in chocolate.
3D printed some food.
In chocolate, yeah. No, I'm joking. But yeah, that's
It's Blick.
So here is.
Why is it Blick?
Well, because I'm gonna paint it. So
it looks kind of cool. Black. It's like a special color that
What?
Where it's like a cloaking thing.
Yeah. So it's it's you might as well just print it, and you're gonna paint the thing anyway.
Wait,
so
one thing before you show that.
Yep.
I want to show you one thing real quick.
Sure.
Because Sean Carter, are you here right now? I forgot to do this. I'm gonna do it before I forget.
He announced at the outset that he is, I believe he's in the car again, so he can't speak directly in the chat, but he is here.
Well, he sent this picture. He didn't give me much info on what it was, other than it belongs to Mexican Iron Man, and it's just been done.
Oh,
I don't know. I think
that's incredible.
I think he made it for Mexican Iron Man or something. I'm not exactly sure.
What?
Yeah, I don't know the details, Sean. Oh, there he is, Sean. What is this here? You sent the picture, but all you said was, "Here's Mexican Iron Man's finished model." Tell us a little bit more. Did you make this, or what's your? Hey, Warrior of Justice. Good to see you.
Hello, Warrior of Justice.
So, what's the deal? Give us a scoop on that, if you would, because.
Yeah, but not while you're driving. Pull over.
Oh no! If you're driving, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
We can put it back up later. Just tell me when, and you can tell us.
He's here.
Okay, here we go.
He's here. Sean, are you still in the car, honey?
He says he's
if you're
here,
still
but
in the
yeah.
car, don't text us. But
Yeah.
we would love to hear more about this. We just absolutely love this. This is terrific.
Okay, this is a 6.5, 650 scale kit that Mark has. Mexican Iron Man posted a video about it. I made the display from scratch. Oh, you made the display for him. Oh, okay.
No, and then he
Well,
probably did the model too, I'm guessing. Both. Yeah, that's so creative.
You put the model together and then the display, or just the display? That's beautiful. Look at that display. That's fantastic.
Gorgeous.
Oh my God. That is beautiful.
Needs to be like in the living room.
Yes.
That's not something you tuck away. That's beautiful.
That'd be perfect in my dining room, but I don't know if the missus would like that so much. But.
Okay, from the ground up. So Sean put the model together and the foundation there.
Amazing.
That's incredible.
That's
Sean,
gorgeous,
that's amazing.
dude. That is one of
and the lighting kit too. The lighting kit too. Don't forget that's a ton of work to, because back in the old days we didn't have all the LEDs.
Right.
Like, not to say that doesn't make it easier, but just there's a ton of work. But the LEDs don't heat up and melt. Nowadays it's a lot easier, but still a ton of work and a lot of work. But LEDs just do a beautiful job. And
can somebody put the video series from Sean Carter's YouTube in the chat, please? I don't think Sean has a wrench.
Yeah, is that he's got a video series of this?
Mm-hmm, he does, and I'd like to put it up.
We'll try to get that. We'll put that in the chat.
Wrenches, can you please help? I don't like to task you with all.
What's Sean Carter's? Sean, what's the name of your channel? I'm forgetting it now.
What's the name of the channel, buddy? We probably. I need to get a link in here.
I sub to it, but yeah.
I think I have sub to it as well.
Oh, there we go. Sci-fi model guy. Yeah.
He built the model and the lights. Okay, and it's okay. We can get that. We'll get that in there, dude.
Yeah, let's get that up. Please.
That's unreal, man. I love it. Oh my God, that's beautiful. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful.
Truly incredible.
That display, oh my. That is some top-notch work. Sean, honored that you sent that picture, buddy. Thank you so much.
That's really beautiful.
Has it. Jill
and the Captain Kirk from the background too. That's a great Captain Kirk
that's beautiful.
In the background.
That's a great Kirk poster. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Thank you, Jill, for that. Thank you for your help.
Did you see this comment from Dave? Do you guys, I just started Clobby, if you want to put that on the marquee. Look at Dave talking about how CLOBBERIN at times, how the clubhouse has affected his life. Look at Dave.
Let's see. I ordered a science fiction. He says, right, on a good note, I ordered a science fiction tales by Raquel Briggs. Yes, Raquel's book, everybody. Please order that. Star Trek: The Motion Picture Director's Cut. Greatness. Yeah, I got my copy too. Migo, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and got the Salt Vampire as well. Nice stuff, Dave-O.
Oh, buy the Salt Vampire. Go for it.
Happening to poor Dave. That is a serious
way to be enabled, buddy. So yeah, this is Dave. Well done, sir. Excellent. This is Sean. Man, I cannot tell you enough.
And the console lights up too. I mean, the console lights up.
Yes. Oh. Sean, that is unreal. Thank you so much.
Only thing I got to criticize, the teleporter doesn't actually work, but
he's working on that. Give him time.
He's working on that.
He has invented. He's
all right,
invented the transporter.
I'll take the replicator first, actually, but yeah.
He's inventing that lucky Mexican Iron Man. Hey, make sure, Sean, if you haven't sent it to him yet, or did you already send it to him?
Well, Mexican Iron's address is blah blah blah. Not my house. Yeah.
Sure hey, did you send him a little Alf to put next to that? A little Alf doll?
What is this thing with Alf and poor Mexican Iron Man?
He hates Alf.
Oh, he hates Alf.
He hates Alf with a passion.
That's a stupid show.
Yeah. Oh, and everybody's always teasing him about it.
I remember when the kids were watching that, and I was like, "What are you watching? That is going to melt your brain. Shut that off."
Well, see, Mexican Iron Man, someone else who agrees with you that Alf is crap.
I love Mexican Iron Man. He's a sweetheart.
Mexican Iron Man is the king. We love him. Mike,
doll.
He is just one of the great ones. We love that man. We love that man. Alf is for Alf is for face target practice.
Why were the kids watching that? That came out when I was older, and the kids are watching. What the hell are you watching?
Now this here, as much as I love NX-01, this is a beautiful ship.
This is
tell everybody what this one is.
Oh, I should have grabbed the model to show everyone the original model.
Doug Drexler.
Yeah, so Doug Drexler designed the NX-01. Drexler's brilliant. So he designed it so that you could add the secondary hull, which kind of fits in. If I just, cover this up, here's the, that's the NX-01, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a secondary hull to it.
You add the secondary hull, and the black doesn't light up,
And for those who don't know, you 3D printed this on your own printer.
3D printed it, yeah.
For those who don't know.
So and my 3D printer, well, this is techno babble, but my Raspberry Pi crashed. Well, the drive crashed, so I had to rebuild of course I didn't save my backup to a different spot, so even though I had a backup on the memory card crapped out, so I got to dial in my printer a little bit better. I wasn't too happy with some of the deflector dish didn't print, and the see that front's a little mangled, but I can you won't see when I sand it, or I can print it separate. I'm going to print a bunch of these anyways, but you always should print it maybe a little bit smaller at first. So the printer, she's not dialed in as good as she should be, Captain, but it's okay. Yeah. But I love the and I do have the model kit for the NX-01 refit.
That's
I wish we got
incredible ship. I love that ship.
That ship is so amazing. It's absolutely incredible.
And so I have the stand that I print, and that I use like for the Doomsday Machine. So you've got the so I use a clear stand, or you could, of course, the best thing is to hang these from the ceiling.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. That is a very nice ship, though. Never saw the light of day. Never saw stars, but it should have. It would have been the 5th season, I guess, right? They probably would have.
Yeah, they were thinking of it for the 5th season. Yeah,
gorgeous.
It's so cool because it's so
that
cool.
That ship is gorgeous.
Of course, there was a spot that didn't print right here, so I got to putty that in. It's not supposed to have the hole through there, guys, but I'll print another one to get the printer dialed in better.
I'm very excited. I can't wait to see it.
So I might do this one in silver, since some of the detail. I love having the ship, the silver, the gold that they do.
Mm-hmm.
But the nice thing about a 3D printer is this costs maybe like $5 to print, or $6.
Don't tell me that.
Well, in terms of just material, I'm talking material.
I know, but it's just ugh.
So it's not, as expensive. The printers now, if you want to get involved or try it, the printers are, $200 to $400 for, a reasonable printer. And the filament's not that expensive.
More enabling. He's taking me to the poorhouse.
But
it's all your fault, Mark.
It's all my fault. Yeah, see, like this spot, I'm a
perfectionist. It's in your contract.
Like this spot didn't print right. But I'll sand this sucker down. And,
I don't know. When you did the Doomsday Machine, I do have to say, like, for the folks at home, that you showed how artistic you are and how you have good eye, because you made the Doomsday Machine absolutely beautiful. And I mean, you went through a lot of paint tests, and you used lots of different techniques to try and make it look as close to the real thing as possible. Well, not the real thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you worked
didn't you see
hard
UFO tonight? There is a real. They are out there.
Yeah,
I want to believe. Yeah.
Hey, Dave G. Sound's here. Dave G.
Sound.
This is a little big to get eaten by the Doomsday Machine, but thank you. Yeah, so I got to use this stand that I have.
Mm-hmm.
You print these stands, which are kind of cool, and you put a clear thing there.
Gorgeous.
Someone's asking how long. I think this ship was 18 hours. I'm gonna say. I think it was either 12 to 18 hours.
Joke. That's the biggest machining joke in the history of machining. How long?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I printed it. Actually, I printed it like this, actually. So straight up. So whenever you print, you've got to figure out which way you're going to do it. So I guess I could have either printed it straight down like this, and then you've got to have the supports. But I went this way because of the deflector dish. So it actually printed straight up on the bed. But you got to think of it too. There's nothing. You're starting with nothing, and it's melting the plastic and going row by row. So and it goes up, and it's got to make supports hold this, so it prints a lot of stuff around. I have pictures I can show, but it's got to print all that stuff just to support it. So sometimes what people do is they'll chop the model in half, like, make a parting line here, chop it and print one half and then glue it together. But something like this, I don't think you're saving that much time. But the nice thing is, if something goes wrong, you're not ruining the whole model. You're just ruining, maybe say half the model. So so I printed that, and the other thing I printed, I have to fix it, but the person had a communicator stand. So this is a super simple item that you can print.
Oh, I need one of those.
Yeah, so that'll drop in the box that's going to you.
What?
So this is.
Oh, Mark, thank you. Oh my
Do you
God.
have how many communicators do you have? One or two, or?
I just have one right now. Well, I have the two, like the like the toy size, and then I have the one replica.
Yeah, so this is one of the cheaper communicators. This is the one that records your voice.
I think.
No,
so
maybe not. This, I don't know. But it's nice because it holds it up. So, but the person that posted the model, did a nice job, but then they had the wrong scale. So
you fixed it?
So I scaled it up. The only problem is this is the good Diamond Select one. The real deal with the metal.
Yeah, the brass.
It's falling off, so I've got to either resize it or tweak this model, because I think the base it's tough to see black on this. I don't think it's sticking up enough.
It looks pretty good, Mark.
Now you can see it, yeah. But I think this section is not sticking up enough. If you look, this is the cheap Playmates versus the Diamond Select.
Yeah.
If you look at the profile, the Diamond Select is a little bit fatter and rounder. So
I've got the Diamond Select. I don't have the Playmates. I should get the Playmates too.
So
Mark's ruining.
I gotta fix it. I gotta fix this. Fix this before.
Did the person have the other ones for the minis?
No, we just had this one, and someone said, "Hey, it's not working." And he's like, "I'm not sure. It worked for me. The scale." So I'm gonna have to. I'll tweak it. I'll just go into the 3D model and just make this come up. Maybe a few more.
Do you have the mini?
The little mini communicator.
Yeah. Do you have that one?
Who made that one? The one from Amazon that's like the book series, like the.
No. That one's the. Who the heck makes that again? Let me go reach.
The one that they made, the Shuttlecraft Galileo and the Enterprise. Those little book series.
Yeah.
They never work anyway.
Yeah.
No, mine works. And I think I have two of them, so I was going to send Mark one of them to Mark for his birthday. Hold on, just let me reach it down, and I'll tell you which one it is. Hold on.
See, if you get this, it does hold it if you get it just right. Or I guess you could put some earthquake putty, as Raquel was saying. Always use earthquake putty to kind of have it stay in there. But I got to tweak it a little bit, and was kind of disappointed. I'm like, oh, it's not staying. She's not staying, Captain.
Yeah, it's the Mega Kit, and it's from StarTrek.com.
Well, if you send that to me, I'll take a look. I'll take a look at it. Yeah.
I think I actually have two of these. I need to get one of these to you for your birthday.
No, you don't have to do that.
Hey, I always send you something for your birthday.
I know. I'm saying you don't have to, though. Yeah.
But yeah, so this one, there's one. It's called the Deluxe Mega Kit, and it's from StarTrek.com, and it's the light and sound communicator.
So what scale? It's a small scale, or it's a?
I don't know. I never opened the box. You know me. I don't open the box.
You don't open the box, yeah. So
because I have my. Because I have.
You have the other one.
I have my prop, right?
Oliver Belamonte. Yeah. Hey there.
So the communicator is used for voice communication and serves as an emergency signaling device for Starfleet. This kit includes a replica of the iconic communicator, so it is correct, which features light and sound, and a 48-page book on the history of communicators, complete with full-color photos. 2016, CBS Studios Incorporated. Star Trek and related marks are trademarks of CBS. So this one, CBS had it. And apparently they're from Running Press.
Well, check it out. Yeah, let me.
Well, no, don't check it out. I'll probably just send you one for your birthday.
No, don't send me or whatever.
Yeah, but the Babylon 5 communicator's better.
Babylon 5. Oh, Sath, of course, Sath would say that.
Rocks. I agree.
Yeah, and, so like Mark, what ends up happening now is like whenever anybody gives me a gift, they just get me something from Star Trek. And because
Star Trek, yeah.
Yeah, because they're afraid of giving me filth. They always give me TOS, so I have overlaps. I have stuff that's like brand new. And what do I need them for? Plus, I don't think you have this one, the deluxe mega kit with the little silver and it's a full replica, and I have 2 of them. I'm going to send this to you.
Why do you have Rover back there behind Khan?
Well, you never know. Khan might get rovered. And I'm reading the chat too from across the room, so I might have missed something. I think someone asked me if I use filler putty. Something like this, I might, lightly sand first, and then put some filler putty in. But mostly, what happens with the 3D prints, unless you've got 2 joints you're melding together, normally you've got more surface imperfections. Now they got the lights all the way turned up, so you can see the lines. So it prints each line, across. So and it's all kind of melting together. But what you've got to do is just keep sanding, and of course you can't feel this, but if I run my fingernail down that, so you gotta sand that sucker. You gotta, especially like here, there was imperfection here. I don't know why, but sometimes the printer's a little off. It's not dialed in, like I said. So you really just gotta sand the thread out of the sucker. If you're watching UFO, just sit there with some sandpaper. You got to do it by hand too. The plastic, the temperature that it melts, if you use a Dremel or something. Unless you're just cutting away or doing something big, what happens if you use anything mechanical? You end up melting the plastic as you're dremeling. Don't
ask how I have to interrupt you. Did we welcome this guy named Little Scotty?
Little Scotty, welcome. I don't think we've seen you here before.
Little Scotty. First of all, like the boss said, I'm the first officer here. That's our chief engineer, and you just heard from our captain. Little Scotty says, "I appreciate the Doomsday Machine." Little Scotty, just so you know, that Doomsday Machine was made by Mark D with the C, and he takes commissions. So if you'd like to buy a Doomsday Machine, please contact Mark. He makes beautiful Star Trek products, and it's stuff that you can't get in stores because Mark is awesome sauce, and that's about it.
Still looks like still to answer the question about Rover.
Oh yeah, that's a paperweight actually. Yeah, that's a paperweight. It's actually the Earth that a friend gave me.
Little Scotty says but he also says
it is green.
No bloody A, B, C, or D.
We battle one. Surely battle.
No bloody A, B, C, or D. I liked it better when it was Rover.
I liked it better when it was a Rover. Can you put it back?
Back so it looks like Rover.
Put it in the dark.
Hungry Boy likes the way the Doomsday Machine is matching up against the book cover he painted. Yep.
Dadman was talking about that earlier. Dadman, everyone in the chat who is saying all of these kind things about the book, about the contents, about the cover, I want you all to know how much I love you and appreciate you. I would not be able to do this without your support. The grassroots support that I've received through the science fiction community is outstanding. The corporations, they're not too warm to science fiction right now. So I love you, and I just don't even know how to express my gratitude. And the cover is incredible. That was done obviously by HB. It's a painting. It's an old school painting. It's incredible.
Nice work. Yep. Awesome work. Not even nice. Shouldn't say nice. And then Brian, what I usually do is just do like a rough first pass sanding, just because there's it's not a normal model. There's a lot of things that stick up. and then I hit it with filler after going the first pass. But of course, you got to watch too. You don't want to where the windows are. You got to watch how you do your how you
don't
fill
want
it
to
in.
oversand.
Yeah, you don't. But once you get that, some of these you can't see, but like there's big bumps and horrible things.
What grit are you using, may I ask?
Well, usually I start with 80 grit and then work my way up. So 80, the lower you are, the rougher it is. Yep.
But you start with 80.
Yeah, I usually start with 80 because you want to get going, especially something like this where it's pretty rough.
And you're wearing a mask, right?
No, not something like this.
Mark.
No, you're not blowing it all. It's your hand sanding it. You're not using a machine. So if you're using
don't breathe that crap in.
No, I don't breathe. Yeah, you're not spewing up massive amounts of dust with something like this. So.
It's not super dusty?
No, not something like not what you're going.
Still, don't breathe that crap in.
Yeah, I won't snort it.
Okay.
So, we're talking talking UFO. So here's Jill was asking about little cameras. So of course, my dad was in the camera industry when he came to America. So she was mentioning, I didn't know if there were small cameras back then. So this is a really cool spy camera, you could call it. Or
that might be like the one you had in that episode of UFO.
Yeah, it looked kind of like it. I got to rewind. So this is a Bose Uniset 8. So and I love playing with this camera as a kid. I never used it, but it's actually spring-loaded. So you can actually wind it up. There's no batteries. I always joke batteries. Yep. So you wind this sucker up, and then where's the release here? And you can take M is for movie, and S is for single shot. So you can do a single shot here. You probably can't hear it through the mic, and then I can also do a movie here.
Still works.
She still works. Yep.
Wow.
Oh wow.
So there were two different models of this camera, and so what this guy has, it has a cartridge in here. So the film cartridge would go in here that you could sell. Well, it's really cool tech. 8mm film. Very simple camera, but it's of course Swiss precision, so works really well. But my dad took some pictures with his skiing
Mark
and
Swiss,
stuff.
everyone, in case you didn't realize that.
Yeah, biased opinion there.
And Clubby's eating chocolate while we sit here starving to death.
No, I'm not. I'm not eating chocolate.
Are you eating popcorn?
Yeah.
You're eating popcorn while we're starving to death.
Well, Mark started it
without sustenance.
Well, I didn't do much food tonight, and I could have. I was joking about 3D printing. Someone mentioned was that made out of chocolate. Yeah, imagine that. Okay, Easter Bunny, I want an XO1 refit in chocolate. Yeah.
Okay, wait a second.
This camera is just so cool.
Zathras, you're a museum historian? Okay, I'm never going to forget this. No wonder you are such an amazing character. You guys, crap is a museum historian. How delicious is that job? That is like the best job ever. But this totally makes sense because Zath would have to kick Mark and I out of the museum because Mark and I won't leave the first room. Mark and I and our spouses are just standing around reading everything.
Do you really have to read out everything? Yeah, Zathras should get to read everything then in the museum.
He does get to read everything and explain everything. You have an incredibly cool job. You may be one of the coolest people I've ever met, you big nerd.
So, yep, very cool. So this should be in a museum, I guess. But I wonder if I can still get a film cartridge for this.
I don't know.
That would be cool to.
That's how they force obsolescence. They just don't. Yeah. I bet you could get it
really innovative.
Did you try Fleabay?
I didn't check yet, but I will. Yeah, I think we have one of them left. I don't even know if they could develop them. I got to find out. The great thing about the internet is there's so many user groups and things that you can find out. Yep.
That's right.
Sean Carter, do you want me to show that? Well, no, you sent it to me. So make sure before I do it. I'll get your permission.
Hungry Boy says the Doomsday Machine has to have a breath mint before the beastie in the book will give him a smooch.
Right?
Okay, here we go. You want to see something?
Sure.
Yes,
Always want to see something. Yeah.
From Sean Carter. This is the powering on of the Enterprise.
Awesome.
Thank you, Sean. Cool.
Oh my God.
Love it. That's fantastic. That is greatness.
Lucky dude.
Yeah.
And Sean sent that to Mexican Iron Man?
I don't know. Have you sent it to Mexican Iron Man yet, or you're going to be sending it?
That's incredible. Like, breathtakingly beautiful.
Well, Mexican Iron Man is worthy. He is a great dude. So.
Wow. How's the popcorn?
I wasn't eating popcorn.
Is it cheese popcorn?
No.
It's
I'm not
regular
eating popcorn. I'm totally not eating popcorn, folks.
You're eating popcorn.
Well, Jill told me to. Jill told me to eat popcorn.
Jill, why are you telling the captain he can eat
Jill?
popcorn on the bridge?
Why are you telling me to eat popcorn, Jill? It's your fault. I'm sorry, I'm starving. For some reason. My last meal I had to eat like while I was on Tom's show. I had to mute my microphone. Eat it while they were. It took forever. It's tough to eat and stream.
I had a big, huge pizza tonight. Sorry, I can't.
You know, for the clubhouse, we ought to.
Was it a sea-tongue pizza?
No, I had mushroom, onions, and what else? Oh, anchovies. My favorite.
We should have
the grossest pizzas. I love you, but you eat they're disgusting. Can't you just have a pepperoni pizza?
Yeah, but then no one gets a piece of mine. Then no one wants to offer to share.
It's strategic. It's strategic.
We should have like dinner time at the clubhouse where we should actually be able to all eat while we're clubhousing.
Yes.
And that's of course the chat as well could do it as well. Hello
your
there,
old toys.
Your old toys, your young toys, your middle age toys,
munching across the universe.
Hey, girl, what's up, lovely?
She just hit a milestone.
Yes, it's at 6K.
Congrats.
Subs. It is wonderful to see you, my dear. I hope you are doing well tonight. We're just messing around at the clubhouse. That is some Mark's showing us some cool stuff. We just reviewed.
Brian, I had salad.
That's what I should have. But here's my problem with salad, Brian. I mean, I love salad, but I can't just have a normal salad like a normal human being because I'm a gigantic mutant jackass. I like to go to this place we have in town called Salad Station, where you can get a $95,000 salad. It's basically, it's ridiculous. They charge by the pound. They got so much great stuff at this salad bar buffet thingy. By the time I get all the stuff I want on the thing, it's $13 for a salad.
Oh, wow.
You could have gotten too bad you weren't at the restaurant with us tonight. You could have gotten a salad pizza.
Why?
They put salad on the pizza. My sister got it.
If I want a salad, I want a salad. If I want a pizza, I want a pizza. Combining them is evil. What is this, Tuvix?
Don't mention
it just goes to show that it runs in Mark's family. Like he has the sea-tongue pizza or the anchovies with onions and peanut butter or some other weird combination. His sister's got the salad on the pizza. It's just overall sick grossness. It's genetic. I pity them.
It's pretty much just me. It's just me. That's I'm the
totally
worst.
kidding.
Yeah. I know. That's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I do like a salad. It's just that my salads aren't this. Well, I put a lot of stuff on there. Let's put it like that. And you're right. No food salad. It's just
what's your favorite salad?
Lettuce with a whole bunch of cheese and others, and a whole ton of Thousand Island dressing and some bacon bits.
Of course, you like Thousand Island, just like Andrew. You guys don't like sea bugs. You guys don't eat fungus, and you love Thousand Island dressing.
I do love Thousand Island dressing. Yeah.
Brian says salad is a scam.
I remember when Pizza Hut used to have a great salad, but they don't have that anymore. But they had the best salads and island dressing, and it was a pizza place, for God's sake. But at least you got a salad, then you got a pizza. So now,
Hungry Boy says that salads are merely a vehicle for croutons and Caesar dressing.
That too. Yeah. Oh, Caesar's fine. I mean, it's fine. I even like a little, was it Italian dressing every now and then? But of course, Thousand Island I like a lot. But to hell with it. Now I'm even more hungry. So stop. We should be talking geekness here. We should be geeking out.
I got it. Yeah, well, we can.
We can. I got what?
I got. Well, I want to show my how I printed the 3D print here real quick. Let's see.
Do it.
Do it. Yep. Let me just
Salad is
turn
for quitters.
Salad is for quitters.
Dave says no food talk. Frack.
I agree, Sean. No goddamn food.
Dave wants some pizza with Yamek sauce. You
Kardashian.
Well, didn't they just throw out all the Yamek sauce?
Yeah, they got rid of it. No,
well, they also prevented that big shipment.
They got rid of it. Remember, Jake and Nog got rid of it all.
They did get rid of it. Okay.
For self-sealing steamboats. So here we go. We got
Lisa says food geeks need love too.
Oh, man. It's just you don't want to. The only thing wrong with talking about food is when you can't get any because you're busy.
You're busy talking.
Right.
So here's how you print the model. So it's you print straight up, and then it creates you have all these supports that are on there to try to make the model print correctly. But a lot of stuff was weird on this model. I gotta tweak it better, but it came out pretty good once I got everything off there. Let's see here.
Wow.
So, that got compressed where I don't know why that looks like that.
Oh my God, it's going through a warp in space.
Oh, you know why? Because I have the setting on the
go back one.
To stretch.
That's great.
Yeah.
Looks like some sort of a villain from Space 1999. The last
one. That's that one. Yeah, the stretch. We don't want to stretch him. Yeah, if it's stretching.
Zathras wants some tube grubs.
All right, I'm not chewing them for you though.
Dadman said that Mark offered him a sea-tongue pizza if he drove up there to visit.
Cut it out.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, on me.
You don't want Dadman to visit?
Dadman, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, why is it
stretching
it like that?
This is going.
Oh, maybe I have to close it and stop it and then go back again. Yeah. Let's see.
Wormhole.
Oh, that's
weird. Into a wormhole in space right there.
Look at that. That's the villain from Space 1999.
Yeah.
We have come for your brain. Hand over your brain.
Brain. What is brain?
Right. What is
more or less how they depicted the building of the Enterprise in Jar Jar Abrams direct. That's true, Stephen. That was so stupid. Building it on the Earth like that. That was so asinine. I mean,
oh no, Rob Altus is asking what his sea tongue is. I'll have to show him.
You don't want to know, Rob. You shouldn't have.
Do you know how clams behave? Do you know that clams are living things? And when they're investigating things or they're smelling things or touching things or looking at things, they open their shell and they stick their bodies out and it looks like Gene Simmons' tongue. And then it reaches all around, touching things and smelling and tasting things. It's really disgusting. It's like a giant tongue in a shell. And Mark puts those on pizza with a white sauce. So it's like somebody blew their nose on your pizza dough and then put sea tongues on it. We all find it rather revolting. But since he's sweet and smart and fun, we listen to him talk about this, and I'm using air quotes right now, award-winning pizza.
The next Joker that talks about food.
Your agonizer, please.
And then if that doesn't deter you,
if you perceive Alamarine, you'll come with me.
Oh, God.
I can't even handle it. It's
It was
so
Italians
funny.
that created the white clam pizza, actually, in New Haven. So
Man, they came with the food.
Your agonizer, please.
I'm just saying.
All right.
Gabe.
I
I'm
can
not
do this all
hungry
day.
anymore.
I could do this all day. Oh, with the food. Jesus.
Oh,
So-
Dave, I love you, Dave. Oh, so funny.
Oh man, we could talk about Star Trek with no food part.
Good.
Or if you want, we'll talk about food in Star
Food
Trek.
and Star Trek.
Yeah, we could talk about gach. Ugh.
Ew.
You know, I can't stand it in Trek when humans pretend to like gawk like with Dax. She's not human, she's a Trill, she's
Yeah.
but when humans eat gawk, no human would eat that crap. Was it remember with that one where Bashir took the chick to the Klingon restaurant on the promenade? I ain't going to the Klingon restaurant.
Oh,
you
yeah,
can
remember that,
have
yeah.
it. You can have the Klingon restaurant with the gawk and all that.
But
crap.
how about
No.
all these people who are working out and they're like eating all these insects and they're starting to like eat worms and I mean, but the fact that
Ugh.
okay, so all right, everyone here knows I'm a social scientist, so I do know that there is research around this our revulsion. So revulsion is a part of our evolution. It keeps us away from disease. When we smell things that are bad or decomposers that are involved with obviously the decomposition of bodies and things like that, we feel we feel instant revulsion. Many of us will even gag from the image of it or the smell of it. So for me, I find it very interesting that people are willing to try to overcome this gag reflex, this evolutionary mechanism we have to get to be away from disease and death, and they're like, nom nom nom, I want some of that. Give me that. Like, why eat that? Like, there's no way I could eat that stuff. It's just no.
No way indeed.
No.
Sean Carter with some has a member chat. Okay, Sean says, "Don't worry, the food doesn't exist, but it does. Only mine doesn't. Mine doesn't exist, and it still doesn't." Thank you so much, Sean, for that.
I gotta clip
Yes.
that and make that one of the clips on the show.
What?
when you ranted but it exists, but it doesn't exist, and someone
never-
said
that doesn't
Tab
exist,
Club.
but-
He's stuck on rewind. Yeah.
That never
Clubby's
happened.
broken. The episode
Clubby's
broke.
broken.
Clubby.
I really don't know what you're talking about. Like what? Whatever do you mean?
Whatever you mean.
Let's see.
He's wiped
Oliver,
it from his memory. He's traumatized.
Oliver
Yeah.
says, Clobby Mark Raquel, for you, who was the worst admiral in Star Trek TV or film? Doherty, Halftold doesn't ring a bell. Eric Pressman, Leighton, Norris, they're all garbage, probably. You know what? I'll tell you this about that, because I don't have really an opinion who's worse, but I can't stand what they did to Admiral Cartwright. I have a lot of problems. I'm one of those few people that has a lot of serious issues with Star Trek 6, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
Corrupting Admiral Cartwright, I thought was absolutely, repulsive to me.
Uncool.
Did
Not
not
good.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I personally, and the only good admiral I've ever really seen in Trek was actually one we're going to start seeing this week in the 6th season of DS9. He might be the only admiral in Star Trek history or one of the few that didn't go rogue.
Yeah.
That had one that had long exposure. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Not one that just showed for a second.
Yeah.
Maybe another
Admirals
admiral.
always seem to go bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm tired of that crap. By the way.
Mad Admiral.
Yeah.
Admiral P. Hart is my least favorite admiral.
Admiral P. Hart is the worst because he's not an admiral.
Android admiral.
Admiral Kirk's the greatest admiral, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until he got demoted, then he was the greatest
Admiral?
captain.
He was the greatest captain, then he was the greatest admiral, then he was the greatest captain. That's the way it works. Admiral? Never told you how. Admiral Kirk? Yeah. It's weird. You had like 2 movies there that were calling him Admiral. Like, then, we need to get back to calling him Captain. Well, 3 movies that were calling him Admiral. And then, boom, back to captaining. So wait, he's a captain. Yeah. See, Star Trek. That's what we want to talk about. Comfort food for the soul. Real Star Trek. You guys all need to help me convince Raquel to break with her programming and just pick out a random Star Trek episode that makes her happy to watch it. You know what I mean, Stream Bean?
Yep. Well, I think that that's going to happen going forward, but I think that's just something I have to ease into because I do love watching it in a linear way, but my relationship with Star Trek is changing. Like I explained this to
he's a great guy.
Because he asked me about it, and I really like that he asked me about that, but because I think he could sense, because he's been with us from the beginning, I think he could sense that my entire relationship with Star Trek was changing, and it is. It's getting more and more negative all the time, and I'm becoming less tolerant of some of the stuff that I see, just because it's like you give them an inch and they take a mile, and there's so much negativity around, and the actors have behaved so terribly. And it's more than that. Like, I grew up in the 1970s, as a teenager in the 80s, and a parent in the 90s. And so, like, I've been with Star Trek for a really long time, but it's also the advent of the internet. Like in the beginning with the internet, when we were all on talking, on ICQ, and we're all talking on boards and stuff like that, we were having a pretty good time with Star Trek. Yeah, there were lots of fights and arguments and stuff like that, but we were having a good time. The minute that we hit, good night, Dad, man. The minute that we hit the web 2.0 and all these weirdos could get on the internet all by themselves, and they didn't need our help anymore, you started seeing these actors and actresses saying some really, really bad stuff. Like it's just hard to take. And can I separate the actor from the art? Well, yeah, but not to that extent. Like, I think that there comes a time where these people are just hard hitting every day, saying and doing the most atrocious things that are just so shameful. And they have no regret, and they don't care, and they just keep going. And I don't know, just makes you just not want to watch them anymore. Especially when all of these dialogues have emerged where they're not even afraid to talk about how much they absolutely hated being on the show, and they hated the idea of the show, and they hated everything about the show. And it's all on record now. It's everywhere, all of these horrible, horrible comments. And so it's just like, well, why?
And you're talking about TNG people specifically, right? So
I am. Yeah. Well, yeah, of course, I don't mean TOS. There is one person from TOS.
That's some moronic stuff.
There is one person from TOS.
There is one person from TOS who's gone off the rails and just been ridiculous. But
oh my, yeah.
Yeah, and these aren't things like everyone, that's in the audience should realize too, that I'm not a very politically motivated person. So like, I vote left, and so I'm not like one of these people who's like, you can't say that, blah, blah, blah. So it's really hard to dismiss me as what some person from the right in the basket of deplorables, the unpersons.
Like me.
Which I don't agree with. I think that's absolutely insane to be that way. But I just want to clarify that, because they're even losing people like me, right? So when I hear someone from Star Trek get on Twitter, and I find out that millions of people in a state have lost power, that dozens, perhaps hundreds, maybe even thousands of people could die, and that that if they do die, no matter how many, they deserved what they got because of who they voted for. I just think to myself, is that what Hollywood's for? Is that what social media is for? Is that the kind of engagement these Hollywood people are striving for? Where do you strike the balance between your private life and your public life? And it just seems like some of the people who have handled it the worst are people who are involved with TNG. They're involved with DS9, and they're involved with Voyager. They say the most ridiculous and horrific things. And I don't care how you vote, so don't try and pretend that it's that issue. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just mano a mano, human to human. The stuff they're saying is horrible, and they just need to stop.
No, yeah, but to hell, they're Garbaggio. Stephen Kal-El says, sorry if I asked this before, but what do you think of the theory that the whole plot, this conspiracy between the three powers in Star Trek 6 was concocted by Section 31? It's since I don't know. I don't think much of that theory. I mean,
might be retconning.
Yeah, that's retconning because Section 34 was conceived of a little bit later, which I know it's supposed to. If you buy into the whole Section 31 thing, I guess it existed at the time, but no, I don't think so. That's another. You touched on something that I hate about that movie, because remember they blamed it on arms manufacturers, and of course it was Klingons, Romulans, and humans. You know, which arms manufacturers in the Federation and the traffic. So I don't know. I don't have much of an opinion on that, to be honest with you, Cal. Doesn't hold water with me, but I guess it's no dumber than them saying there were arms manufacturers in the Gene Roddenberry's Federation. So that's why I can't stand that movie. It's one of many reasons why I can't stand it. So I don't have.
I just can't. Sorry, the Section 31. I just can't stand Section 31.
I can't stand Section 31.
No, I mean you would have maybe Starfleet Intelligence Group, but what they've done is made them act how they would never act in Gene Roddenberry's universe in terms of crossing the line. So, and that's more of a Deep Space Nine. I guess they're going to be introduced in the next.
That's
few
Ronald D.
episodes,
Moore
I think,
dribble,
right? Yeah, so it's really unfortunate that
he probably made it up
canon, and then it made it into Enterprise, and they keep using it, and it's used to have a dark and dirty, dangerous version of the Federation, and they're really not upholding their principles.
And now they've gone way off the deep end.
Yeah, they went off the deep end. So unfortunately, the idea of, all right, well, maybe we've got a secret intelligence group. One thing, that's okay, but then to have them go over the line and act like they shouldn't act. Yeah. Yeah, that would be great if it could never exist. Yeah.
I'm totally with you. It is not necessary. Look, I understand the logic of it in any other piece of fiction, but it just doesn't belong in Star Trek. Mark the other day sent something to Raquel, and I guess we can't play it. But you said that video you sent, I recommend everyone check it out if you can get a link to it. It was just a little simple, short video on YouTube where a gentleman made, where it's called Why Star Trek. And the premise of it is a little short, one of these I guess YouTube shorts, right?
I think it's YouTube short. Yeah.
Well, he says a woman saw him with a Star Trek shirt out in public. And she said, why Star Trek? And he started to think, well, I like this. And she says, no, she meant, why is that your thing? Why do you like Star Trek? And he gave the most brilliant answer. And I know you both saw the video.
I wish we could play it, but we can't. But,
you can't play it, so I just say it. He named, he's a geek who likes geek stuff. And he named like just a whole passel of science fiction IPs, and really good ones, a lot of great ones that we all like, Planet of the Apes and Terminator, and I mean, you name it. He went Blade Runner. He named a whole bunch of them, very popular, very famous science fiction ideas, or IPs, whatever you want to call them, right? And there's a link in the description there. And he says Star Trek's the only one where we get to entertain the idea that human beings get it right. Human beings are on the right track. Human beings is not dark, rotten, horrible, dystopian future. Because there are plenty, by the way, like him, I like a lot of the ones he names. He's not saying he dislikes, he's not disrespecting these other ones. He's saying, but Star Trek is the only one where we get to have hope, where we get to see a bright future for humanity. And that's what makes it special. When you take that out of Star Trek, it's not Star Trek anymore.
Yeah. It's also the hardest way to write.
Yep.
Yeah, you've got those constraints. Yeah.
It is the hardest way.
It's extremely difficult to write that way, and especially in an episodic fashion, because in an episodic fashion, you have to come up with a brand new idea each time. And each time you have this beautiful nucleus of hope, of humanity being a force for good in our universe, and us overcoming our pettiness, overcoming war, overcoming poverty, and seeking edification, seeking, reaching out and doing something good. And that, human beings are inherently
It is a hard way to write.
It's hard.
But you know what? It may be, but the fact is they pulled it off for almost solidly with a clunker 1 or 2 and 2 seasons of the original series, and then even a few times in the 3rd season. So it's been, you can do it like that, and even sometimes on TNG they pulled it off. So you can, and a lot of times on Enterprise they did. And if you want to make a case, once in a while they did it on DS9 and Voyager. So in other words, it's not like they're incapable of it. Even when after Roddenberry was gone, and they admittedly, their admission skirted the things the way he would have wanted many times. There were also other episodes where they didn't, where they did things that were very Roddenberry-esque. So if you could do it those times, why can't you do it more? So you can do it. Now look, it is hard. Therefore, that's one of the wonderful things about Star Trek. It is unique. And the Orville is some sort of pastiche of it, so it's still being Star Trek at its best when it was good for 2 years. So you can do it. And I don't begrudge any of those others for not doing it. In fact, I love that Star Trek is unique being the one to do it. But why do we have to lose Star Trek? Why can't we keep that? And you can do all those other things. Ronald D. Moore can go do his own thing with his own show, and he did. He stole another IP and screwed with that, as we all know. I know a lot of people like that show he did, but he did steal another man's show and do that. Yeah. So I just think, why couldn't we just keep Star Trek, and you can go do that somewhere else? Well, of course, we all know why, because it's easier to use an established IP and just to dump all over it and create your own thing. We know the answer, so I was answering my own question. And there, Zathras has got a good point. Babylon 5 is great because it doesn't have the constraints of Star Trek. It never needed it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the constraints of Star Trek, a lot of people I don't want little Scotty to take this the wrong way, because I'm not singling you out. It's just an idea that's often expressed. So I just want to address it. Star Trek is idealistic. This notion that Star Trek is idealistic. The problem with writing modern Star Trek has nothing to do with the fact that it's idealistic, or let's modify that, too idealistic. You see and hear a lot of people saying that. And certainly, Ronald D. Moore is on record for saying such things. But I'm here to tell you, as someone with a degree in writing and a master's degree in communications and technology, that's not the whole story. The whole story is that episodic fiction requires a new and fresh idea every week. Serialized stories are one idea that is drawn out over many episodes. And because of that, the focus becomes the interpersonal relationships and dealing with the one idea over all of these episodes. When you're talking about something that's episodic, you're talking about something that relies on the idea to carry the story. And so when you have a science fiction author, and certainly a science fiction author who writes short stories, that's someone who's committed to research. They're committed to ideas. So they look at technology, they look at futurism, they look at human beings, where human beings are going, where the future is going to take us, what's going to happen when we make first contact. And science fiction offers us that experience. We get to massage our anxieties and our anticipations. Sometimes we get a little catharsis. Things will be okay. We get to entertain all of these thoughts in our heads. And so these authors have a lot of work to do. They have to sit down. They have to do a great deal of research. They have to consult sociology. They have to consult anthropology. They have to consult technology. And they have to come up with a really great idea in order to offer you that science fiction experience. And that's a lot of work. And you have to be very creative. This is why Star Trek had authors, and they would purchase these short stories from them and turn them into teleplays. We see this in Tales of Tomorrow as well. That's not the way that corporations work. Right now, corporations have these teams of writers. There are also psychologists and marketing people on these teams. They come up with one small idea, a tiny nugget of an idea, and then they stretch it over many, many episodes, sometimes a full season. And we delve into these interpersonal feelings, these interpersonal skills. We start getting into how people feel. We mull over how people feel. So it's a completely different genre. So what we've done is we've decided to go the easy route. Now, corporations write teleplays about how you feel, and they try to instruct you on how you should feel about your reality, usually these days about politics. Science fiction doesn't do that. Science fiction is a different genre. It's doing a different thing. It has a different purpose. It looks different. It smells different. It tastes different. It has a different telos, which is just a very academic word for purpose or like outcome, like what you're striving for. So that's what's happening. And people need to stay focused on that. It's incredibly important that people stay focused on that. This is a corporate problem, not an audience problem. And it's not an idea problem. It's a corporate problem and a process problem. And we need to correct it.
Absolutely.
Great point, Raquel. Yeah, because you see all these
medicines. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, boss.
You see all these, multiple writers, SDD's got 20 producers, well, 19, I think is the accurate number. And then you see all these movies now, big blockbusters, and they've got, 20 writers or, ridiculous number of writers. And a lot of times they won't take a risk on something original or new. And that's why we get so many sequels. And I was reading an article yesterday, but Ike Perlmutter got fired from Disney. I believe that's accurate. And he was head of the Marvel film studio in the start. And also then he was running the comic division. And he had bought Marvel and sold it to Disney for $4 billion in 2008 or 2009. And of course, he's the famous guy who wanted to serve potato chips at the Iron Man premiere to save money. He was very frugal, but hey, it's his company, right? He didn't want to spend any money. He wanted it all to go into the profits. But what was interesting was reading the article. They said Guardians of the Galaxy is coming out, and they interviewed James Gunn. Like, can Marvel actually keep their string of successes going? Guardians of the Galaxy is out of their wheelhouse. It's in a science fiction, or not science, but space. They're headed out to space. And they're talking about, all the successes of the Marvel films. And Guardians of the Galaxy was a big question mark. But James Gunn, they gave him enough creative control. And he was able to have his vision for that movie. And it's one of my favorite Marvel movies. And part of it is because of the surprise. I'm like, there's no way they're going to make this into a good movie with these characters. And they're just not going to be able to do it. And it's just interesting to see then as, Disney took over, how it just became more and more corporate, and you didn't have to unleash that creativity that you had in the beginning of the Marvel movies. And of course they did, some of the directors did complain, I guess, about, that how they, controlled them. And they were, just, putting out product, they really weren't directing per se. Famously Edgar Wright got canned from Ant-Man. So whenever you stifle creativity and don't take a risk, there's certain things you'd never think that are going to be good, or whenever people tell you no, that's not going to work, or you're an idiot, your idea is stupid, go for it, and you'll fail or succeed on your own. But I think that's the problem now. They're not willing to take risk, and they're just beholden. Of course, they're beholden to their stockholders are supposed to make money,
and there's not much risk there. Like, there's not much risk.
Yeah,
like
they won't take the risk.
United States has a very long tradition of embracing short story authors and putting them in magazines, facilitating them to write some of the greatest novels human beings have ever written. People don't realize this. This is the mechanism of short story and chapter publishing in magazines, right? And also the fact that this is what feeds the celluloid. So science fiction is a very tiny genre. Very, very few people. I have heard some experts say fewer than 10,000 people in, I think it's North America, but I would have to look it up, are willing to buy a science fiction novel. The thing that short story science fiction does is it enables these film studios to go to these people who write these short stories and put them into celluloid. And that's what science fiction fans really like. They love their short stories, and they love their short stories put into celluloid. And they're crying out for it. And the corporations, this new generation, they just don't realize it. But I want to get to 2 comments here because they're super important. Zathras says Babylon 5 had one writer, JMS. I just want everyone to realize too that Zathras has raised a great point. Obviously, a very intelligent person. He's a museum historian, and it opens up a whole bag of other ideas. And that is, I'm not against a holy trinity of authorship. So, in TOS, we had this holy trinity. They accepted all of these beautiful short stories, turned them into teleplays, and it equals magic. So I'm not opposed to teams. What I'm opposed to is corporate writing. And also in this point that Zathras has raised is that if a single author comes forward to you and they are behaving in a hyper-didactic way, so they're over-moralizing with their story, and they're behaving in a very hegemonic way. They're trying to lead you. They're trying to scold you or admonish you or convince you to behave in a certain way. Did you know that the public generally either loves that person, hates that person, but will hear that person out because it's just a single person? And so you say, hey, did you read that book? That was super controversial. Can you believe that guy said that? Can you believe he asserted that? And people are okay with it. The phenomenon that's happening in culture today is that it's a corporation doing it. The corporation isn't like your Catholic church where it's your job, where it's the corporation's job to have these stories that are hyper didactic and hegemonic, and they're moralizing and instructing and admonishing you. That's why people are pushing back. There's absolutely nothing wrong with people pushing back against that because they're not encountering that individual author. They're encountering a corporation that has an idea about what it wants to do to you and what it wants to get from you as a consumer. And so knowing these details and how it changes these things are very important. And Sean Carter says something, and then I'm going to stop talking. Sean Carter says, Raquel, it's a corporate problem, yes. But on the other side of that coin is the consumer. It's folks like you whom we need to show everyone that there is alternative content. I just want to say, Sean Carter, you are a hero of mine because you have pulled the best stunt of all, and that is going that 16th, 17th, 18th century route by becoming one of my patrons. It's incredible to me, and it feels so old-fashioned and remarkable and incredible that you went to my Patreon and backed my new book, and you said, yeah, like, this is what I want. And we need to replace and repair and restore that mechanism. So I think you're a pretty incredible person, and I thank you for what you said, and also thank you for supporting episodic science fiction that dares to respect and entertain its audience rather than coming up with something to please a corporation. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking.
Well,
Thanks, everyone.
well, that's a great point because, yeah, if you don't, quote unquote normies, and I'm not, using an insulting way, but if you're, you're just going out to the movies every week and, was it Scorsese who got in big trouble for saying, the Marvel movies weren't real movies?
So they were like theme park rides, and he had a good point.
Yeah. So in terms of that, we've gotten some fantastic movies like Winter Soldier or Civil War.
There's some great ones, yeah, but
great ones. But then you get these movies by road or movie by numbers where you got this flat green screen now, and they just put the special effects up there.
Yeah,
and there's no creativity. I mean, I remember my dad took me to see The Thief of Baghdad, which is an old old movie. I think 40s or 50s, black and white, but fantastic special effects. And I always remember seeing that. I was like, wow, that's incredible. Or seeing Fantasia. I mean, Disney was a real pioneer. Walt Disney was a brilliant guy, and basically invented the nature documentary and all the techniques for filming and camera work, animation, and all the animatronics. I can never say that word at the theme parks. It was very. Thank you. Yeah, I always stumble on that word, but very. Everything was so high tech. I mean, it was the technology of the parks, and it was always what can we do? I mean, they set up Fantasia had it wasn't surround sound, but it was 4 speakers, and they set up special theaters where they had the soundtrack was actually not mono. Sean Connery was just thinking of Fantasia. So think of that. If you went to a movie theater back, was that in the 40s? I can't remember now. I think it was the 40s.
40s.
Yeah, 40s, 50s. Yeah, but basically the first surround sound, right? He's always pushing the envelope, and that's what you need. And you don't want this regurgitated entertainment that's just the same old boring stuff. I want to think, or a lot of times I think a lot of the mystery or the murder mysteries, I know, Raquel, that's probably not your bag, but at least they've got some twists and turns in them, or try to make you think sometimes. But like some series we won't mention, exactly where they're going, or it's like there's no surprises or nothing new, where it's like, oh, give me something that makes me think. Like tonight, watching that UFO show where you brought up what Paul had done, and like, wow, I didn't think of that. There's multi layers. There's something always interesting. You peel back the onion on the story, and there's more to it the more you pull into it. But it's still just an hour episode of TV meant to entertain you, but it's got something there. Good night, Zathras.
Good night, Zathras. Crap.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you talk about this, but there are people who are in academia like me, who are just focused on a life of academia, that are fully aware of this. Oxford professor Dr. Harari is talked about this in his latest book. And I love Dr. Harari, but he was discussing the fact that we have made this turn towards feelings. And so that's become the focus, the feeling of happiness and the feeling of feelings. And I think that there are a lot of people out there who realize this shift in popular culture. And ideas inspire the mind. They feed the soul. They feed the brain. They feed the imagination. They feed creativity. And feelings don't quite offer that, do they? So if everything we have around us is only reacting or creating reactions or eliciting reactions that feed into feeling and the happiness of the feelings, we've really lost a great deal of what arts and entertainment can do, what it can do for a society, what it can do for an individual. Ideas inspire the mind. Telling someone how to vote and feeding into how someone feels, their reactions, their deep emotions. It's quite bizarre. And we're very, very focused on it right now. And there are a lot of academics, such as myself and Dr. Harari, who have expressed concern with that type of focus. Should a life only focus on the self's happiness and nothing else in life? Oh, there is so much more out there in life than your own personal feelings and the happiness of protecting those feelings. There is so much more to life. And right now in our society, people are being shaped to think that this is the only meaning of life. It's quite a dangerous thing. And I hope people stand up and push back against it, because your life is way more than that. You can be edified. You can self-actualize. You can expand your mind. Like Carl Sagan said, you're responsible for everything you put in your brain. You are. You. And so you have to make sure that you curate all these beautiful things that you can put in your brain. You can learn, you can grow, you can give, you can receive, there's so many things you can do with your life. Your personal feelings in these emotional exchanges you have with others should not be the focus of your life. That's really scary. It's weird and scary. I mean, it's obviously a part of life, and it's healthy to have feelings. I'm not saying not to have feelings, but what I'm saying is that being the central focus of an entire society is quite scary. It's very scary. Anyway.
Indeed. Yeah. Well, what's it? Did I star one? Oh, yes. Rob Altus, our buddy says, Raquel Riggs, I will order your book when I return from my overseas trip. If I order now, it won't arrive before I leave.
Yay!
Gotcha. Well, that's very kind of you. That's very kind of you. Oh, yeah, I just thought it would be fun to talk a little Trek. We'll get out of here in a minute here. We'll start winding things down, everybody. We've been here for a good while, and we thank everyone for being here tonight. But it's interesting that I believe the other night when we were on Saturday Night Star Trek, when we were talking, I can't really remember what it was, but we got in a very, very long discussion about something that was an episode that we both were very highly critical on, that we did not like, and it struck me and says, you know what? Even Star Trek that we're critical of, real Star Trek meaning, there's so much to it that we can spend a lot of time talking about the ideas and what's behind it, pro and con, even whether it's a bad episode or whether at least we think it's a bad episode, that not everyone does. There's so much to talk about with Star Trek, and again with anything that's of quality, of course. And just like UFO tonight, we had so much to talk about. We spent a long time talking about certain character concepts tonight about a character in UFO. So it's similar to that. It just goes to show you that now the only thing to talk about in Filth, for example, is just how rancid and bad it is. And talk about how all the things that it violates and just dumps all over. That's just it's void. It's vacuous. It's banal, and it's just disturbing and disgusting. It's not.
It brings down the Federation too.
It brings down everything it touches. It's an abomination, and the only time you spend talking about it, nothing. You're not saying anything. You're not saying anything constructive. You're just telling the truth about how bad it is, but you're getting nothing out of it. Whereas that conversation the other night about an episode we didn't even like, I got a lot out of it. Hey, Shooter.
Pew, pew, pew.
That conversation, I got a lot out of that conversation, just talking about, even though it was an episode that we thought was not very good. And I thought it just goes to show you that real Trek can do that. It can have, yes, Sean, you can have a beautiful philosophical discussion or an interesting philosophical discussion about real Trek, because it is about ideas.
Yes.
In
not my happiness. What about my happiness? I am entitled to my happiness.
The new drivel's not about anything important or special or interesting or intelligent. It's just about pew 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 and member berries and nostalgia, and people are falling for it, and yuck. So and this is
ideas are important.
I know we don't want to get into it. Be
inspired, everyone. Go out and you know what some of your happiest moments in your life will be? When you give a part of yourself selflessly and not tell anyone. Show up to a soup kitchen and feed supper to a bunch of homeless people. Don't tell anyone about it. Don't brag about it. Don't say, I'm going off to do this. Go do that. And when you come home, I guarantee you will feel more grateful and more happy than you ever will feel watching a show that is made by a corporation that's telling you the only thing in your life that matters is your happiness through interpersonal feelings. There is so much more to your life, and you are capable of so much more. Go do wonderful things with your life. Go do amazing things with your life and feed your brain. It's a beautiful machine.
Read books.
Read books.
Books.
Well, and I just want to say too, I know we don't want to really get into it, but I just want to say you should never attack anyone over what they like or don't like, or that's the one thing I don't, in IDIC and Star Trek, like infinite diversity, infinite cultures, infinite viewpoints. I don't think anyone should be attacked for liking something. If you like an episode or I kind of disagreed with Raquel tonight a little bit. I see what, but I understand her point, and maybe I wouldn't have shin kicked them as hard, but we can have a discussion and talk about it and see, but that's what's fun too. Sometimes you don't, always disagree with your friends and you say what you like or dislike about something, but it should never get personal or think less of someone for what they like or dislike. So that's my Scoutmaster minute that I would, tell my troop or tell my buddies or tell my friends. Yeah.
Yeah. No, look, heated discussion is fine. Heated disagreement is perfectly fine. It should never be personal. I never, I don't decide whom I like or dislike on basis of whether we agree on a TV show or anything, even when I love like Star Trek. Now, I'm also upfront. You got to be honest about what you're thinking and feeling. And I'm very honest about the fact that I don't understand how anyone could like this filth. It doesn't make me dislike them as a person.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
So I'll joke around with him and kid around with how do you like that stuff, so we can have the conversation. But no, you shouldn't attack anybody for liking or disliking. The thing is, it's got to work both ways, though. It's got to work both ways, or it doesn't work at all. Just as if you don't like it, you shouldn't be cruel or over the top attacking anyone. That's fair, because I do hate it, but it shouldn't be the other way where they can come back and go after the people that aren't on board with it either. Sean Carter, thank you so much. You're too kind, buddy. He says, challenge for everyone: give a stranger a sincere smile, a cashier, someone you pass by. Do that every day, and you'll be amazed at how it affects you. I do that every day anyway.
I love you. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Sean Carter.
I absolutely agree, but that's me every day, and it's not. I never have to think about it. It's just the way I am with everybody because I love everybody.
Yeah, so, you got to move that. You got to move that way in your life,
Eric,
what I always I'm sorry, I was just saying. What I always tell my scouts is pretend that's your mom. That's needs person that dropped something or needed something or pretend it's someone you really know. And you're gonna read Eric K now. So,
and I just like to get the super chats when I got them up there. Sorry. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it, buddy. I would never make fun or attack Mark for liking STD or Clobby for liking Wesley. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I love you, Eric.
By the way, I forgot. Oh, no, wait. I forgot to tell you there's one exempt to the rule. You can be mean to Mark D with a C for his opinions because that's his job. But everyone else you have to be nice to.
Everyone else is okay. Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were saying?
No, I was just gonna. That was just hysterical. I was just wrote. How did you know I loved STD? Oh my god! I wanted to put needles in my eyes after getting through that series. Well, I did eat a lot of. You know what? I did need a lot of mac and cheese to get through that series because that's about the only way.
Hungry boy. Hey, we forgive people for liking funk. I do forgive people for liking funk.
It's true.
Well, maybe
I 100% forgive Mark for owning Funko Pops because he also has the greatest Gorn in the history of Gorn.
Unless you own a lot of Funkos, then we may have a.
Yeah. Then it's not good.
Let's say, for example, Donnie. He says, I got one Funko Prop. One, okay. Now, if he had like 40, I may have to question him and I may have to hurt him. I may have to send in virtual shin kicks to him. I may have to have his agonizer.
Dave's turning into Eric K.
I would never hate Raquel for putting a poster of Paul Foster on her wall. I think Jill has a poster of him. She's the one that likes him.
Jill has a poster above her bed of Paul Foster, and it has her luscious lip marks from her best red lipstick right on his smacker.
I forgot to ask.
What does hubby think of that?
Wait a minute. I forgot to ask Gordon, what did you think of Paul Foster?
I would chin kick that little bastard. Raquel's right. He should be destroyed, and I would not be merciful to him. I would take that little punk and say, Straker, let me take him out behind the yard and kick his ass at Vasquez Rocks, sorry. I shall destroy him. I'll destroy him like all humans and get rid of this stupid Funko Pop of me. Let me stab it now. I will definitely not be merciful to it. I hate this. I hate Funko Pops. I hate you. Bring me Kirk. Kirk. Ouch.
Oh my god. Oh my god, this is some classic Clubhouse going down right now.
That hurt. I can't talk anymore.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Clobbering Times. Thank you for being here. Wow.
I'll do next week's show entirely like this.
Oh, sorry. Whoa, Matt. That's not good. I will. Don't worry, everyone. If it hurt your ears, the punishment was the crime. Oh man.
Yeah, Shoot says Clubby suffers for our enjoyment. Totally.
I deserve it. I'm going to a con Saturday. I should be able to talk by then.
You're going to a con. I forgot about
Nice.
that.
Yeah, I'm going to a con. Well, it's a one-dayer. I'll still be back for Saturday Night Star Trek. But
Okay, good.
yeah, I got the Gulf Coast geek gang there. I never could seem like maybe once a year or something like that. And we got a little 2-dayer. It's just a dealer room type thing. It's not like a big con with guests or anything like that, but I have a really nice big dealer's room. We go there in the morning. We walk around and catch up, shoot the shite, geek around.
Oh, it's gonna be so
with
fun.
a whole bunch of people that I only get to see like once a year or whatever, and then go off, go to the IHOP, have a little lunch, and then go hit the big Second and Charles stores, hit the comic shops, geek out, just a little bit of a geeking out. Looking forward to it though.
Nice.
All right.
Oh, did you get the new Thing episode, the Clobbering Time episode, or?
You mean the comic? I didn't get it yet. I'm gonna go pick it up.
Guys, well, no, you can grab it
I'm
at the
sorry
con,
to
then.
interrupt. I beg your pardon. Please excuse me. I'm so sorry, but I think Donnie's like running out the door. So everyone, please say goodnight to Donnie Pearson.
Good night, Donnie Pearson. Have a great one. Make sure you come back soon.
Anyway, sorry. Please continue, Mark.
I don't know.
Oh no, just mention. Yeah,
I need to go pick that up. Yeah, I got to pick that up.
And the Thing Funko Pop too, right?
I'll destroy you. I will not be merciful to you.
I'm not gonna lie. If I had a young daughter, and that little Clobby Funko Pop was in the store, I would probably get it. I would be like, "You want a little Funko Pop? You want a little baby Clobby?"
He's a cute little dude.
Is he? Yeah, he is.
I mean,
He's
it's
a
because
bobblehead,
it's
though.
a Clobbinator. It's
Is that
like
a Funko?
it's
It
baby
is a
Clobby.
Funko.
I didn't know Funkos made bobblehead thingies.
Yeah, they do bobblehead. Yeah.
Well, that thing's adorable. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I wouldn't own it, but that thing's adorable.
It's clobbering, clobberonimo, he says.
So, let's see here, folks. What's going on? Okay, I will get some closing remarks from our crew here, and then we'll do some show notes, and then we'll do some goodbyes, and we'll just get the Funko out of here.
Okay.
So, number one, right, Largo's Lair. By the way,
Largo's Lair.
Greetings.
Any final words from our first officer?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for giving me the floor, boss. I just want to thank everyone in the chat. This show is nothing without you, and each and every single time you bring it. You guys are just so intelligent, great conversationalists. I just have such a wonderful time engaging with all of you. It's just very special. You are all so smart, funny, insightful, great people. I have such a great time with you. Thank you so much. I also want to thank my Patreon subs, Larry, Tony Stark, Sean Carter from Mars, Cardinal Sin, also known as Gil Bavel, Shooter, Chris Persia, Scuba Pete and Leslie Pete, Eric K and Baby Kirby, Enigmatic Drop Bear, Michael and Cassandra Beacom, Mark D with a C, Jilly, Jill, and Maximum Redstone. I want to thank all of the wrenches. Thank you for making our community great, whether it's making an amazing show poster for us and putting us all over your socials, or it's making sure that everyone in the chat is getting everything they need and grabbing that URL from us, or just, just being kind and bringing people into the fold here. You are sensational. You don't get paid for this. Many of you are super important wrenches who work for huge channels. So Clubby and I and Mark and I, we are so grateful to have you here. I want to thank Mark D with a C. In real life, Mark D with a C is my friend. I think it's incredible that he puts up with me. He is a glorious human being. He's intelligent. He's very talented. He has his own channel. He also takes commissions on all the cool stuff he makes. Please follow him. And you won't regret it. You'll have a great time. And go to that geekery on Sunday night. You are sure to have a good time. I also want to thank my captain, a man who is absolutely one of the best friends I've ever had in real life, in my life. I love you so much, Mike. I love you, Clubby. You are my captain. You are my hero. You are my friend. Thank you for creating this space for us. We're all here because of you. You bring us all together with your charm, with your wit, with your incredible expertise. And I just love you for it. And thank you for having me tonight. And that's it.
Thank you for being here. It was always wonderful. Marco Polo.
Yeah. So, thank you. The chat was awesome tonight. So much fun to hang out with everyone, and just love the chance to hang out with you guys, and we can share it with everyone how much fun we have. So it's always a blast on Thursday night here. And his chat is so great with all the questions, and I always hate it when sometimes I think I miss something, because so it's tough when you're on and you're talking, but I appreciate any more subs to the channel. It's going upwards and onwards, which is fantastic. So I do have a new item on I'm going to try to figure out how to do Patreon. I did start a Patreon, and I'm trying to see if I started Patreon. So I'm going to with some 3D prints I'm going to offer, and I'm trying to, and one of the items you can do is a mug. So I have this Doomsday Machine mug, which I'm doing. And
You talked about this, but this is good. This is done. This is going.
Yeah, it's going.
I gotta get on Patreon. I gotta get this shared.
I might buy one of those.
So, but I've got to find out how to do like an individual item where because you have to sub at like the $20 level before you can do, buy an item or get an item for 3 months. So I'm trying to figure out how you can change.
No, you just change your package.
Or you could do I think you can do like a one-time purchase too on Patreon, which I want to.
You just have to change your package, bud.
Largo's Lair agreed. Blake 7 rocks, and good to see you there.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I'm finally going to break down and do another Blake 7 show soon, because it's been too long.
I love Blake 7. Can we do Blake 7?
It's going to be we're going to do a Blake 7 show soon.
Well, maybe we'll do it after we finish UFO. We could switch to Blake 7.
Well, we could review it, after we do UFO. But if y'all want to, but we don't have to. If you want to, I did my ranking.
I will follow you and Mark into the fire.
I already ranked every episode, so but I got to think of something else to do. But that, of course, will be one thing to review them as well. Yeah.
And the good thing about this mug is,
did you?
No, I didn't. I don't think I did. Well, tell me if I did, but I thought it was all hidden.
Thank you, Lisa.
But but the good thing about this, it keeps your coffee warm, because it's the Doomsday Machine automatically, right?
I'm
one of those mugs.
I'm sad.
So these.
I just realized we missed a comment from someone, and I don't remember who it was. Someone asked if anyone had the transporter mug and if it worked, and I was going to.
I do have the transporter mug.
I know. I was going to tell them that, and I forget who asked. It was a really long time ago, but I was like, Raquel, don't forget to bring that up. Don't forget to bring that up. Someone asked if any of us had the transporter mug and if it worked and it was good or whatever. And the stupid chat got away on me.
It doesn't work as well the older it gets, I have to say. But I did have that transporter mug. It's kind of cool in the beginning. Then it kind of seems to wear out after a while, but it's still very cool. Yeah. So
Mark,
the temperature when
please put your
Kirkland's stuck.
Patreon in the chat.
Oh, I did. Yeah, it's at 1:32 a.m. or whatever time it is.
Okay, I'm on
Hey,
my way
G7.
Patreon.
You are my kind of chap, because so can I. We could have a Blake 7 quoting contest.
Dun, dun,
Kind of like a
dun.
poetry showdown. Do
Yeah,
that's right.
Like 7
Poetry slam.
Yeah, and you got to.
Right?
You can only talk in Blake 7 quotes.
Yes.
Well, Clubby will kick major butt in that.
I don't know. Well,
Yeah.
my memory, I don't trust it anymore. But go ahead.
Okay, so where's this Patreon?
I hope it should be able to. I hope it's working. Yeah. So I had 3. I can share it. I guess. Yeah. Let me share.
Oh no, I got it.
Well, I shared it on the screen too. So let me just share that real quick.
Hey, how come
As long as Clummy.
Yep. How come I can't click on it? That's annoying.
All right. What's going on now? I've lost. What are we doing?
We're done. We're out of here.
I thought you guys were still doing something.
No,
that's okay. Yeah.
He was just talking about the mug. Did you talk about the mug? Sorry, I'm looking around for you on Patreon.
Well, the mug is if you do the highest level, and I'm also going to offer 3D prints at the highest level, but that's quite a bit of money. So I'm trying to figure out a way to. I think you can do like just a one-off, like people that sell comics on Patreon, so you can like actually purchase things through Patreon. So that's what I've got to want to check, but. Let's see here if I look.
At least do this.
What about you?
What about me?
Why don't you go?
You are expendable.
And you're not?
No, I'm not. I am not expendable. I'm not stupid. And I'm not going.
Right?
Brilliant dialogue. I love that
yeah.
show. I miss that show. I haven't watched it in a while. I need to rewatch it again.
I rarely not watch it.
So there's the Patreon. So I've just the $1 a month level, and of course just some. We're gonna offer like digital pictures and like me. Maybe the picture of the Doomsday Machine and put stuff.
Correctamundo, Dave.
And then $2 was name the episode. Yeah, you got it. Yep. And
love that.
Then I'm going to. I have a sticker of the Doomsday Machine for this one, and then the $20 a month I was offering a 3D print, and then. Once you do it for 3 months, you get the photo mug. But I'm going to find out about doing the like I said, the one time purchase. So, but yeah, appreciate anyone checking it out.
Excellent.
I'll just put it up on my twits.
On the twiddles.
Twits.
What are we doing again? I forgot what we were doing just now. Oh,
we're getting the heck out of here now, boss.
Oh, okay. What was that? What'd you do?
Yeah, I didn't do that.
That was me just saying Admiral.
I didn't know I had that.
On the Admiral clip. I just added it. Yep, I upgraded you.
Thanks. At least you didn't add this.
But I did everything she did.
Make it stop.
Count to 4. Alamaring.
Count to 4. Alamaring. Then 3 more.
Sorry. All right. Okay, buddy.
Singing so bad.
Show notes, my friends. Let's see here. Up in Hill tomorrow. Tomorrow on the Great Nick Weiser's channel, I'll be there 8:30 Central Time at the with Nick and the Friday Night Comic Shop Gang. Looking forward to that, my buddies. And then Saturday night right here on this channel, Saturday Night Star Trek is, of course, on beginning Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Season 6 with 4 episodes reviewed by me and my wonderful first officer, Ms. Raquel Briggs. Then there's the aforementioned Sunday Night Geekery on Mark D with the C's channel, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be over there hanging with him.
Yeah.
And then Monday night, Mark C Comics Talk. I'll be riding solo, I guess, just boring everybody to tears with one of my famous list countdowns. This is, of course, the countdown of the top 25, my top 25 favorite episodes of the great Justice League Unlimited animated series of the early aughts. This wonderful show. I love it. And, of course, all the regular shows as well throughout the course of next week. Some topics and stuff. So I am looking forward to that. And now you got me wanting, man, you guys, a couple of you got me wanting to do another Blake 7 show because it's been a while. Been too long since I've done a Blake 7 show. So that's going to come up soon.
Blake 7.
Cannot wait. Anyway, so that's that.
I
guess
have to rewatch The Prisoner too. I also miss that show.
Yes. It's been almost, it's been like a year since I've rewatched Prisoner because I watch it every year, like sometimes twice.
Me too.
And
At least a year.
It's actually been a couple months since I've watched the Blake 7 episode. That's not acceptable. We'll shout our wrenches out and then we'll get out of here. Of course, the great Eric K., the Bronze Wrencher, and his puppy. Great Chris Persia, the Vindicator Wrencher of the North, and the great D. Bud Martin. Lord Thoth and Lady Thoth, everyone lives long, live the Legion and their puppy. They wrench without fear, the great J-Man, my partner in crime on Earth B. Hungry Boy, Master of the Claboni, Stephen Kal-El, Super Wrench, Maddie's Daddy, Wrench Mjolnir, and of course, the great Fanty Outsider. And I believe Apollonie popped in earlier, so let's show the bumper.
She did.
Sammy! So, again, thank you all so much for being here with us tonight. We'll shout everyone in and out proper on Saturday night, of course. But until then, my friends, let's see. I rarely go a week without at least one binge of Blake 7 at some point. A week? Wow.
Dave G. Sound is a good man.
A week though? There's 52 episodes. That's a binge of that? Wow, man. You don't get much done, do you? That's amazing. So, which, by the way, I'm envious. But anyway, thank you all for being here with us tonight. And thank you all who lurked. And thank you all who was maybe catching us on a download or a rewatch. We never say it enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, everyone. Please have a wonderful weekend. And I cannot wait to see you when we're back here Saturday night. Take care. And clobber on. Why did I do that? Sorry, everybody. I don't know why.
Get those nerds! Nerd! Nerds! What?
It's clobbering time! I just love clobbering time.